Chapter 1363. Jiang Jun. Many people were shocked because he was not only the city lord of Crystal City, but also the master of this crystal star. He had monstrous authority and amazing strength. Most of the time, he was busy with his cultivation. Not many people had ever seen him before. However, just as the 9 great stewards were about to be completely wiped out, Jiang Jun finally appeared. Master Jiang, Su Liangyin and others were grateful. They had waited for such a long time for Jiang Jun to appear. If he did not appear, they would have been killed by this Master Wu Taidu. Fortunately, he appeared in time, and they still had a chance to live. A true Fire Realm expert. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and stared at Jiang Jun, who was walking in the air. There was a big difference between the true Fire Realm and the Treasure Refining Realm, and the strength of the Treasure Refining Realm could not be mentioned in the same breath. Once promoted to the true Fire Realm, the divine sense would undergo earth-shaking changes and transform into spiritual fire. The power of the soul would be more than 10 times stronger than that of the Treasure Refining Realm. By condensing it into a spiritual fire, it would be easier to burn materials and forge magic treasures. If cultivators at the Treasure Refining Realm could only forge treasures, then cultivators at the true Fire Realm could forge spiritual treasures and give magic treasures a trace of spirituality. Without spiritual fire, it was impossible to transform magic weapons into spiritual weapons and give them spirituality. At the same time, spiritual power also had a terrifying attack power. It could burn the enemy's soul and damage the essence of the soul. Of course, more importantly, it was easier to comprehend the heaven and earth. The power of the heaven and earth array was more than 10 times stronger than that of the Treasure Refining Realm. It could be said that this was an all-round improvement. Even in a small sect, a cultivator of this realm could be regarded as a mainstay. In the Red Scarf Bandits, it was an elder-level expert who grasped authority and was second only to the Golden Core Realm leader of the Red Scarf Bandits. This was also the biggest guarantee for the Red Scarf Bandits in Crystal Star. What the hell is going on? The white-robed old man Jiang Jun's eyes were very fierce and full of anger. He glanced around and saw that the entire Crystal City was in a state of devastation. There were traces of destruction everywhere. Several Treasure Refining Realm stewards and tens of thousands of soldiers were dead on the ground. What made him even angrier was that the Crystal City's foundation array formation had been destroyed. If he wanted to repair it, who knew how many resources it would take? Merely such a loss was sufficient to cause him to be extremely pained and unable to restrain his rage. It was simply a loss of over 100 years' worth of wealth, and he didn't know how long it would take to make up for it. City Lord, it's all this kid's fault. Su Liangyin immediately went forward to complain and shift the blame. This arrogant martial tycoon came to Crystal Planet to cause trouble. First, he maliciously killed many innocent citizens of Crystal Planet. He wanted to rob them and kill them. Later on, we wanted to apprehend this murderer and maintain public order. I didn't expect him to be so vicious that he even dared to kill our steward. City Lord, please take action and capture this madman. Tear him apart and avenge our brothers. Tears streamed down his cheeks, and he looked like the biggest victim. Yes, City Lord, this Master Mateto is simply inhumane. Compared to Master Mateto, those heinous villains are all good people. If such a person doesn't die, the heavens will not tolerate it. We absolutely can't let him escape. Otherwise, he will definitely bring disaster to the common people. Although we are also interstellar bandits, compared to this kid's degree of evil, we are simply incomparable. One by one, the stewards came forward to complain and slander Xia Ping. What big dog guts! The white-robed old man Jiang Jun shouted. You actually dared to cause trouble in Crystal City, and even killed a member of our Crystal City's city management, wantonly committing murder. What do you think this place is? You're completely lawless, you must be tired of living. Now I will only give you 2 choices. First, you kill yourself, and I can make the decision to leave your corpse intact. Second, you resist stubbornly and get killed by me with 1 palm. You can choose the method of death yourself. He gave Xia Ping 2 choices. His killing intent was boiling. The surrounding people all shook their heads. How were these 2 choices? Clearly there was only one choice, and that was death. The difference was that one would have an intact corpse, and the other would be dismembered into thousands of pieces. However, this was also a very normal thing. He came to Crystal Planet to cause trouble, destroyed the Crystal Planet to this extent, and even killed a few artifact refining realm stewards. How could he be punished with just 3 cups of wine? If they didn't solve this Master Mateto today, would they, the Red Scarf Bandits, still have face and prestige in the future? Would they still be able to manage Crystal Planet in the future? Without absolute strength, in the underworld, who would be afraid of you? Idiot! Xiaoping glanced at him. Are you old and muddle-headed? Do you believe what they say? Do you believe them when they say they like to eat sex? However, if you want to incriminate someone, you can always find a pretext. I am also too lazy to explain anything to you. If you want to fight, then come. But don't blame me for not reminding you. Going against me is courting death. He didn't explain anything, but instead, he went tit for tat. This was their territory. He killed a few of their stewards and destroyed the array. At this point, it was already a matter of life and death. The reason for causing trouble was no longer important. Rampant. Hearing this, the white-robed old man, Jiang Jun, flew into a rage. He roared. Going against you is courting death? This old man would like to see who will die first. Boom! In an instant, he pulled out a 3-feet-long sword from his body. Sword light radiated in all directions as he slashed through the void. Sword Dao Divine Ability, Flying Dragon 9-form sword. This was the general's famous sword technique. With this sword technique, he didn't know how many enemies he had killed. Even a warship would be split in half with one slash. Xiao xiao xiao. In an instant, sword light shot out. First it was 1, then from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6, until 9 swords flew out at the same time. These 9 swords converged together, and vaguely transformed into the phantom of a flying dragon. It contained the might of a dragon, and was endlessly mysterious. In the depths of the void, there seemed to be a flying dragon roaring. Ha! Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of cold light. He felt the horror of this sword. From the sword light on the white-robed old man's body, came a terrifying divine sense power, affecting the void and passing to the depths of his soul. It seemed that the sword light had not yet arrived, but the terrifying will was like a flame, burning his soul, trying to completely burn his body to ashes. Whoosh! He felt the horror of this sword. It was definitely not something that a treasure refining realm could resist. Even if he had the Dark North body protection art to protect himself, he would probably be seriously injured. Xiaoping immediately used the Kuanpeng step, and his figure flickered. At the critical moment, he finally avoided this sword. Dong! Chapter 1364. You have some skills. But how many of my swords can you dodge? Jiang Jun laughed coldly. Now that he had the upper hand, he showed no mercy. Wielding his longsword, he displayed his ultimate sword technique. Sword shadows appeared one after another, like a giant net of death, enveloping Xiaoping and the others. The condensed sword chi was extremely terrifying, as if it could easily pierce through their protective earth energy. The sword chi shot out one after another, seemingly forming a sword formation. The area within a radius of tens of kilometers turned into a sword domain. No matter where they hid, sword chi would shoot down from the sky. So strong. Su Liangyin and the others were all trembling. Although this was not their first time seeing the city lord Jiang Jun use his full strength, they still felt their hearts tremble every time they saw it. They felt that they were far from being able to match up to him. Every single sword chi shot out seemed to have the power to kill them instantly. It was extremely tyrannical. No need to say anything more. This kid is dead for sure. There's no way he'll survive. Yin Yong breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Jiang Jun had absolute strength, this kid would definitely die. Truth be told, he had developed a shadow in his heart towards this kid. He felt that he was a monster. If he didn't kill him now, he wouldn't be able to eat or sleep in peace. Oh no, will Big Bro be in danger? Feng Hatong also noticed the appearance of this old man. Sensing the extraordinary aura, he immediately became nervous, worried that Xiaoping might not be a match for this old man. Don't worry, he definitely has a backup plan. If he can't beat him, he would have fled long ago. Jiang Yaru said in a low voice. She understood Xiaoping's personality very well. He wasn't the type of person who would fight head-on, even if he knew he couldn't win. The others nodded as well. Hide? There's no need to hide at all. Killing you is like killing a chicken. Xiaoping's eyes were cold. He didn't care about this old man in white at all. Arrogant. Just wait until I chop off your limbs. We'll see if you still dare to be so arrogant then. Jiang Jun was completely enraged. His eyes were bloodshot, and all the energy in his body was boiling, as if it was boiling the void. Sword formations appeared one after another. Boundless sword chi gushed out and quickly condensed into a flying dragon. It roared at the sky and instantly pounced towards Xiaoping. Whoosh! At that instant, a wormhole appeared above Xiaoping. A spaceship flew out of the wormhole, swaggering like a carefree Kuanpeng. It was Xiaoping's Saint-grade spaceship Stars. Under Xiaoping's command, it trembled slightly and immediately traveled through the void from the port to his side. This was the terror of a Saint-grade flying ship. It could travel through the void without any sound or movement, unlike other flying ships that would cause a huge commotion and energy shock. What? Su Liangyin and the rest were shocked and dumbfounded. They had never expected that a flying ship would actually arrive above the Crystal City. It should be known that the airspace above the Crystal City was restricted. With the existence of the domain restriction formation, it was impossible for any spaceship to fly in the air or travel through space. Even though the four symbols Earth Fiend formation had been largely destroyed by this kid, the Forbidden Space formation had never been destroyed. But the problem was, how did this spaceship break through the Forbidden Space formation to reach this place? Could it be that the Forbidden Space formation was useless against this spaceship? What the hell is that? Is this what you're relying on? What a joke. What can a small spaceship do to me? Jiang Jun sneered. He had personally destroyed many spaceships. This kid thought that he could escape by mobilizing a spaceship. He had underestimated a true Fire Realm powerhouse. Kill. With a single thought, he immediately mobilized thousands of sword chi. Each sword chi contained a terrifying force, and even mica steel could be easily torn apart. Jiang Jun could almost see the miserable state of this spaceship, being sliced into countless pieces by his sword chi. However, this was exactly what he wanted. He wanted to give this kid despair bit by bit, and let him know that coming to Crystal Planet, to behave atrociously, was the biggest mistake of his life. Ram him to death. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and gave the order. The numerous stars flew towards Jiang Jun like a falling meteorite. Bang bang bang. At that moment, thousands of sword chi bombarded the outer shell of the myriad star like raindrops. One after another, sword formations crushed down like a millstone, attempting to completely obliterate the spaceship and crush it into a pile of scrap metal. However, it was of no use. It could not even leave a mark on the spaceship. Xiaoping looked indifferent, and even wanted to laugh. This was a sage-level spaceship. Even a sage's attack could not leave much of a mark on this spaceship. A mere true Fire Realm cultivator wanted to destroy stars. It was like an ant trying to shake a tree. Impossible. Jiang Jun was shocked, and his expression changed drastically. His strongest attack was actually unable to destroy this spaceship. Just what kind of material was this spaceship made of? The problem was that before he could figure it out, the spaceship charged towards him with terrifying power. Even though Stellaris was currently in a damaged state and could not use any attack techniques, it was the most terrifying existence in itself. A single collision could easily kill a true fire cultivator. It flew over at a seemingly slow speed, but it was heavy. It was like a falling mountain with nowhere to hide. Break for me! Jiang Jun yelled with a ferocious expression. He felt a fatal danger and gave it his all. Thousands of swords converged into one, and countless sword chi attacked the spaceship in a frenzy. However, it was useless. It did not even shake the spaceship. Kill! Jiang Jun was terrified to the extreme. He threw out all the trump cards he had on him, including the single-use Dharma treasure, the Yin Sky Lightning, the Sword Dao Divine Art, the Sky-Raising Sword, and even threw out a large number of cannonballs in an attempt to stop the flying ship. However, it was useless. When all the attacks landed on the starry sky, they seemed to turn invisible, like a gentle breeze. Run quickly! Jiang Jun was so scared that he peed his pants. He did not dare to stay where he was. Since he could not do anything to the spaceship, he would probably die if he stayed. He fled quickly. However, before he could move, stars suddenly accelerated and broke through 1,000 times the speed of sound. Speed was power. Fast. It was too fast. Jiang Jun only felt the blink of an eye. Before his divine consciousness could react, the spaceship had charged towards him, and his body was sent flying. Bang, bang, bang. In the next second, his body flew out like a cannonball. He flew in midair and destroyed dozens of tall buildings along the way. Then, he was sent flying hundreds of kilometers out of Crystal City. Soon, Jiang Jun's consciousness fell into endless darkness. His body could not withstand such a shocking collision, and a terrifying force exploded in his body. With a hong sound, his body turned into a lump of meat paste, splitting into pieces, falling onto the ground just like that. Chapter 1365. Are you kidding me? That's Jiang Jun, the Crystal City Lord, a true Fire Realm expert. He died just like that. He was killed by a collision. Everyone who saw this scene was dumbfounded and did not know what to say. This is too terrifying. What is the structure of this spaceship? Even a true Fire Realm expert could not move it. It's not just an ordinary spaceship. It's definitely an amazing magical treasure. It might even be a supreme spiritual weapon. Crystal City is finished. The Lord was killed on the spot. Who can resist this demon? Everyone did not expect such a thing to happen. After all, this was the territory of the Red Scarf Bandits. There were 9 stewards, and a true Fire Realm expert. Even a strong dragon could not suppress a local snake. But who would have thought that this kid was simply a ferocious dragon that had killed all the experts of Crystal City? Run! The moment they saw Jiang Jun's death, Su Liangyin and the rest immediately reacted. If they continued to stay, they would probably become Master Matato's dish. Their life and death would not be under their control. If they did not escape, they would die. Martial Dao Mystique, Kuanping steps. How could Xia Ping allow these people to escape? In an instant, he immediately used Kuanping steps. Both of his feet stepped on the air. With each step, a special and mysterious array would appear. The power of the array enveloped his whole body, and he instantly disappeared from the spot. Bang, bang, bang. In the next second, all the stewards were hit by the fist energy. They were sent flying and smashed into the ground, creating a huge crater. These stewards spat out blood. Their eyes protruded, and their necks tilted. They died immediately. At this moment, the fist force had penetrated their lungs and shattered their hearts. There's still one alive. Xia Ping landed on the ground and scanned with his divine sense. He immediately sensed that one person was still breathing weakly. It seemed that he had barely withstood the power of his fist. But even so, he was on the verge of death. He walked closer and realized that the person who was still alive was Su Liangyin. Not dead yet. You are really lucky. Xia Ping looked down at Su Liangyin. Don't kill me. I have a lot of treasures on me. As long as you are willing to spare my life, I am willing to hand them all over. Su Liangyin begged, hoping to exchange his treasures for his life. I don't need treasures. As long as you tell me a piece of information, maybe I can spare your life, Xia Ping said lightly. Hearing this, Su Liangyin was delighted. What news? As long as I know, I will tell you everything I know. Very good. Xia Ping nodded. I want to know where the 9 heaven-growing soil and crystal fragrant rice are. What? Did you come to the Crystal City for the fragrant crystal rice? Where did you learn about the biggest secret of the Red Scarf Bandits? Su Liangyin's expression changed. He didn't expect Xia Ping to want to know this kind of information. Don't talk nonsense. Do you know this news or not? Xia Ping didn't want to talk nonsense with him. Su Liangyin rolled his eyes. Of course I know about this. It's located in a very secretive place on Crystal Planet. However, only us 9 stewards and the city lord know about this place. No one else knows. He felt that he had found a chance of survival. Oh, what do you mean? Xia Ping looked at Su Liangyin. Su Liangyin said, You are a smart person. You should understand what I mean. Now the city lord and the 8 stewards are all dead. In the entire Crystal Planet, only I know about this news. If I die, I'm afraid it will be very difficult for you to find it. Moreover, the Red Scarf Bandits' headquarters will be informed of what happened on Crystal Planet. When that time comes, they will definitely send a large army to suppress us. Therefore, if you want to find the crystal fragrant rice, you must agree to a condition of mine. He stared at Xia Ping. He thought that he had found Xia Ping's weakness and had a chance to negotiate. You still want to negotiate with me? There is no need. Your value is not as big as you think. Xia Ping looked at Su Liangyin with a smile that wasn't a smile. He seemed to have seen through Su Liangyin's true purpose. He reckoned that this kid wanted to use the negotiation to stall for time. When the Red Scarf Bandits' reinforcements arrived, they would be able to kill him. Perhaps they would even give him a fake destination, in an attempt to bury him in a trap. Wait, don't you want to know the location of the crystal fragrant rice? I am the only one on this planet who knows about this. Su Liangyin immediately became anxious. He could feel the killing intent from Xia Ping. It was obvious that Xia Ping wanted to kill him. Of course I know about this. Therefore, you will not die for the time being. However, you will temporarily become my slave. Xia Ping stretched out his hand. Immediately, a vortex of magic power appeared in his palm. It continuously rotated. Countless mysterious energy from the depths of the void gathered in this vortex. In a few breaths' time, a golden seal floated above his palm. It emitted a mysterious light and had a unique soul fluctuation. This was the supreme spiritual secret technique that he obtained from the soul race, Soul Seal. Soul Seal was Saint Blood Soul's trump card. It could enslave a saint. After obtaining this spiritual secret technique for a long time, Xia Ping had also learned this secret technique. However, he never had the opportunity to use it. Now might be the best time to use this secret technique. As long as he enslaved Su Liangyin, he believed that Su Liangyin would reveal any information. After all, this secret technique was extremely terrifying. Once the enslavement was successful, even one's soul would be controlled. The enslaved target would be extremely loyal. It was as if they were brainwashed. Even if Xia Ping ordered them to commit suicide, they would not hesitate. What is this thing? Su Liangyin suddenly felt his heart palpitate. He instinctively felt that this golden seal was not ordinary. It would be extremely harmful to him. He must not touch it. Otherwise, he would not be able to control his life. Good stuff. Xia Ping patted it lightly. The golden seal instantly sank into the depths of Su Liangyin's soul. Xia Ping could feel that after the golden seal entered Su Liangyin's soul, it was like a seed. It sprouted and turned into a towering tree. Countless roots penetrated into his brain. After the golden seal entered, Su Liangyin struggled instinctively. However, his soul power was too weak. It was easily destroyed by Xia Ping's soul power. He could not resist at all. He could feel that he could kill Su Liangyin with a single thought. The golden tree even emitted a unique fluctuation that affected Su Liangyin's thoughts. It completely brainwashed him and made him Xia Ping's loyal slave. Master. Moments later, Su Liangyin's rebellious expression disappeared. In its place was loyalty and fanaticism. It was as if he was a fanatical believer of a religion. How mysterious. Xia Ping could also feel the power of the soul seal. Not only that, he could also sense all of Su Liangyin's thoughts. He knew everything that Su Liangyin was thinking. Chapter 1366. Half an hour later, after some interrogation, Su Liangyin said everything he knew, including his plot against Xia Ping and so on. Naturally, he also knew the place where the crystal fragrant rice was produced. Bang! Xia Ping lightly patted Su Liangyin and immediately killed him. It was better for someone who conspired against Xia Ping to die. Moreover, the soul seal could only control 9 people at most. He did not want to waste a quota on Su Liangyin. After killing the other party, the soul seal would condense again, and the golden mark would quickly return to the depths of Xia Ping's soul. This golden mark would not disappear because of the other party's death. At this point, the 9 stewards of Crystal City and the Castellan were all killed. The high-end power was completely wiped out. The surrounding soldiers of Crystal City had long fled in fear. Even a true Fire Realm expert like the Castellan was killed. If rookies like them dared to go up, they would only be sending themselves to death. Let's go. Xia Ping immediately sent Jiang Yaru and the others back to Myriad Stars. Then, he plundered the treasures of the 9 stewards and the castellan. He also took away all the treasures of Xiangyin restaurant. Soon, he left Crystal City and went to the place where the crystal fragrant rice was. According to Su Liangyin's information, the place where the crystal fragrant rice grew seemed to be in the northernmost area of this planet. That place was rarely visited and was the most important secret base of the Red Scarf Bandits. Although that base also had a certain degree of defense, it was still a lot worse than Crystal City. Therefore, he was not worried about going to that base and encountering any danger. In the distance, some of the Red Scarf Bandits, hiding in the dark of Crystal City, looked at the backs of Xia Ping and the others as they left. They all gritted their teeth and were very resentful. It's over. The castellan and the 9 stewards were all killed. This is an unprecedented event. Immediately inform the headquarters and inform the leader. This Master Mateto will definitely not escape. Making trouble in our territory, we must make this Master Mateto pay the price. Many of the Red Scarf Bandits gritted their teeth. They immediately passed the message and informed the headquarters of the situation in this place. After all, this was one of the most important bases of the Red Scarf Bandits. They would pay attention to any movement. But even if they paid attention, it was useless. In a short time, their reinforcements would not arrive. At this moment, in a base in the northern region of Crystal Star, this place occupied tens of thousands of acres of land and was surrounded by tall steel walls. There were even large-scale defensive arrays and illusory arrays set up to prevent people from investigating the situation here. It could be said that the defensive measures of this base were armed to the teeth. A large number of Red Scarf Bandit elites were gathered here. The news of what happened in Crystal City had yet to reach here. After all, there was a certain distance between Crystal City and this place. Things had happened too quickly, and they had yet to react. At this time, a group of soldiers were chatting. "Sigh, how boring. It's another day with nothing happening." "That's not right. Do you really want something to happen?" "That's not it. The reason why I joined the Red Scarf Bandits was because I wanted to live a life of drinking and eating. Who would have thought that I would be thrown into this damned place as a guard?" "What's wrong with that? This is the most important base of the Red Scarf Bandits. Defending this place is the greatest contribution." "Contribution, my ass. This is a top-secret base. Moreover, Crystal Star is one of the main camps of the Red Scarf Bandits. It is heavily guarded. No one has invaded this place for hundreds of years. If no one has invaded, what contribution is there to speak of?" "That's true. After all, no one who intrudes this place will survive. No idiot would dare to come here. In short, I feel that this kind of comfortable life is quite good. There is no need to lick blood on the edge of a knife, or worry about being plotted against by the enemy. It is a good place to retire." "That's right. If you were to rob everywhere in the universe, you might be killed by a passing expert. Wasn't there a captain who was very arrogant? Relying on his divine realm cultivation, he thought that he was awesome. Who would have thought that after robbing a passenger ship, he would be killed by the enemy's guard and stabbed to death? In that case, it is better to stay in this base. There is no need to worry too much about danger." Many soldiers nodded. Because no one had attacked this place for hundreds of years, it was extremely safe. No one would think that this place would be attacked by the enemy. They had more or less lived like princes. "Not necessarily. Maybe one day, we will really be attacked by the enemy. It is better for us to be more careful." Soldier Wang Wu had the opposite opinion. He felt that nothing was absolute in this world. "Oh my God, there really is an invasion. Everyone look." A spaceship suddenly appeared in the sky above the base. Suddenly, a soldier looked up and saw a spaceship coming out of a wormhole and docked in the sky above the base. "What?" Many of the Red Scarf Bandits were shocked and looked up. "Enemy attack, enemy attack. Inform the base commander immediately." A soldier yelled frantically and sounded the alarm. Clang, clang, clang. Immediately, someone rang the bell. The alarm rang throughout the entire base, alarming all the personnel in the base. This was an unprecedented invasion. The danger level had suddenly risen to the highest. Don't worry. So what if there is an invasion? This is our secret base. Not only are there many arrays, but there are also a large number of laser weapons and various defense systems. Even if a true Fire Realm cultivator comes, he will be instantly beaten into a beehive. This invader is dead. A captain stood up and gave a speech, trying to stabilize the morale of the troops. Captain, I don't think things are that simple. Since the other party dares to come to our base, they must be fully prepared. I'm afraid we will be in trouble this time. Soldier Wang Wu was not so optimistic. Dong. As soon as he finished speaking, many of the Red Scarf bandits saw the spaceship land like a meteorite. In an instant, it pierced through the base's array. Countless laser cannon attacks were useless against the spaceship. In just a few breaths, the spaceship rampaged like a crab. Relying on its invincible defense, the weapons of the base were completely destroyed. At this time, the base's energy shield collapsed, revealing its original appearance. There were ruins everywhere. It's over. It's over this time. The base's array and defense system have been completely destroyed. What can we use to resist the enemy? Many of the Red Scarf bandits were in despair. They wanted to escape. Don't be afraid. The captain came out to stabilize the morale of the troops. He waved his hand. We still have the base commander. He is a true Fire Realm expert. His strength is second only to the City Lord of Crystal City. He also has many treasure refining realm deputy base commanders. With them, this spaceship will be destroyed in minutes. We just have to wait for a good show. He shouted loudly, dissuading the soldiers who wanted to escape. Chapter 1367. Captain, we have a base commander in the True Fire State. Don't tell me they don't have one too? Maybe the base commander will be killed in a few moves. Wang Wu felt that the situation was getting worse. He could feel the threat of death looming over him. Many of the soldiers were more or less relieved when they heard the captain's words. However, when they heard Wang Wu's words, they became anxious again. Fuck you. Hearing this, the captain was infuriated, and he wanted to slap Wang Wu to death. It had taken him a lot of effort to calm these soldiers down so that they wouldn't panic. If they panicked, the enemy would take advantage of them. Who knew that this bastard would always say things that he shouldn't? The situation had been ruined by this bastard. If this was an ancient war, such a person would be the first to be pushed out of the Meridian Gate and beheaded. However, before the captain could kill Wang Wu, a soldier screamed in horror. Oh my god, it's over. The base commander has really been killed. He was smashed to death by the spaceship. Damn, Wang Wu's mouth is poisonous. What? Everyone looked over. The base commander of the True Fire Realm was still aggressive, flying through the air like a majestic god, trying to slay demons. However, he did not expect the spaceship to be so ferocious and unreasonable. It directly crashed into the base commander, catching him off guard. He flew dozens of kilometers in the air like a ball. In the end, the base commander's body was smashed into a mountain, and he was smashed into pieces. He could not be more dead. It was a pity that a base commander in the True Fire State had been killed by a spaceship just like that. It had only been a few seconds since Wang Wu said those words. His efficiency was terrifying. No way, the base commander is really dead? He was smashed to death. Doesn't that mean the deputy base commanders are in danger too? Wang Wu was stunned. He did not expect his words to come true so quickly. Bang! 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 As soon as he finished speaking, a few of the deputy base commanders were also chased by the spaceship. With a slight shake, a few more of them were killed and exploded in the air. They could not escape even if they wanted to. The deputy base commanders' bodies were like fireworks. They were smashed into pieces and fell to the ground. They had died a horrible death. Damn! The deputy base commanders are really in trouble. Damn! Wang Wu just finished speaking and he was killed again. They are elites in the treasure refining state. How could they die so easily? How could it not be easy? Even the base commander in the True Fire State was killed. Treasure refining state cultivators are nothing. That's right. They are killed like chickens. This spaceship is simply a ferocious creature. Whoever it hits will die. It's over. Our base is completely destroyed. Let's run. We've offended a big shot. If we don't escape, we'll die. Many of the Red Scarf bandits were in despair. They didn't even have a chance to fight, but the base commander was already killed. The other deputy base commanders also couldn't escape death. They were all smashed into meat paste by the terrifying spaceship. As for the base's array formations, defensive weapons, and the like, they were all destroyed the moment the spaceship barged in. How could there be any power left to resist? The captain was trembling. If the base commander and the deputy base commanders were killed so easily, wouldn't they be in danger too? The captain felt like he had fallen into an ice cave. He was trembling all over. If the base commander and deputy base commanders were killed so easily, wouldn't they be in danger too? Captain, I don't think it's the time to be in danger. If the enemy comes back to his senses and finds us. Wang Wu could not hold it in anymore, and wanted to say something. Slap. Before Wang Wu could finish, the captain couldn't take it anymore and slapped him. The slap was as fast as lightning and sent Wang Wu flying. He spun a few times in the air. He cursed. Damn you, will you die if you don't speak? Just now you killed the base leader and the others, and now you're even worse. Are you trying to get us killed? I forbid you from speaking now. If you dare say another word, I will kill you on the spot. The captain immediately flew into a rage. He stared at Wang Wu fiercely to show that he was not joking. If he dared to speak again, he would punish him according to military law. Well done, Captain. I wanted to beat him up just now. Damn it, this Wang Wu's mouth is too cruel. Even a crow's beak isn't as poisonous as his. His mouth is definitely blessed. We can't let him continue, or he will definitely kill us. The group of soldiers all agreed, saying that the captain did a good job, and helped them vent their anger. You're welcome. It's what I should do. The captain cupped his hands. He felt very comfortable. After being the captain for so many years, this was the first time he had received so much support from his subordinates. It seemed that beating up Wang Wu was right. It was what everyone wanted. Soldier Wang Wu felt sullen. He covered his red and swollen face, expressing that he was wronged. He had only said his own explanation, but how was it a jinx? This was discrimination, pure discrimination. He had never seen someone bully others like this before. However, he could not offend the public, so he could only endure it. Captain, that spaceship ran to the crystal rice plantation. Their target must be our crystal rice. What should we do? Should we stop them? A soldier noticed the spaceship's movement and immediately reported. Stop my ass. Didn't you see that the base leader and the others were easily killed? How can we stop such a ferocious god? If we dare to go up, we will be sending ourselves to death. It's better for us to hide and pretend to be dead. In short, wait for these enemies to finish robbing before we appear. It's safer this way, the captain said impatiently. He did not want to fight with such a monster. That was not a battle. It was purely being a cannon fodder. Captain is wise. You have penetrating insight. That's right. Everyone is a red scarf thief just to make a living. There's no need to risk our lives. That's right. When a thief should slip away, they should slip away. If they are too heroic, no one will collect their corpse. We should just obediently pretend to be dead here. That way we can live a little longer. But if the leader finds out that we are not working hard, I'm afraid we will be punished. Just find a random reason. Just say that we were hit by a rock and only woke up after a few hours. Moreover, we were surrounded by all kinds of collapsed rocks. We can't get out in a short period of time. Brilliant. It's really brilliant. The group of soldiers worked together and thought of all kinds of ways to avoid conflict with the terrifying enemies. After all, they were thieves, not soldiers protecting the country. Wanting them to risk their lives to fight with the enemies? Wasn't that ridiculous? Time passed in the blink of an eye. In an instant, 2 hours had passed. Captain, that spaceship seems to have left. A soldier noticed that the spaceship had left the base and traveled through the void. It seemed to have left the crystal planet. Really? Set off immediately and clean up the mess. Heroes always appear last. Chapter 1368. So. A group of red scarf bandits immediately headed towards the place where the crystal fragrant rice was, wanting to investigate the situation. Oh my god, it's gone. All the crystal fragrant rice is gone. Not a single grain is left. They came to the field, which was originally lush and filled with fragrance. At least 10,000 mu of crystal fragrant rice was planted, but now it was all gone. Not a single grain was left. Now the field had turned into a wasteland, as if it had been trampled by countless wild boars. All the crystal fragrant rice was eaten. Not even a grain was left for them. Beasts, even thieves don't act like this. Not even a grain of rice was left. How could they be so rampant? Plundering a goose's feathers. I have never seen someone plundering so cleanly. Could it be that the other party is from the Taudai clan? It's over, it's all over this time. If the leader finds out about this, he will definitely fly into a rage. Many of the Red Scarf Bandits' mouths twitched. They did not know how to describe their current mood. One must know that this field was the most important source of wealth for the Red Scarf Bandits. But now, it was completely plundered by these thieves. Not even a single crystal fragrant rice was left. One could imagine how furious the Red Scarf Bandits' leader and the elders would be when they find out about this. Not good. Not only is the crystal fragrant rice gone, even the 9 heaven growing soil is gone. How could it be plundered? The Red Scarf Bandits' leader suddenly noticed that not only was the crystal fragrant rice gone, even the soil was dug up. This was the kind that dug 3 feet deep. Even the slightly more precious 9 heaven growing soil was taken away, leaving behind only ordinary soil without any spirituality. My God, the 9 heaven growing soil was obtained by the leader at a great cost. It was specially used to cultivate the crystal fragrant rice. Now it has all been plundered. This is bad. Bastards, even the soil was dug up. Do they still have humanity? How much money are they lacking? Damn it! Our base's treasury was robbed as well. Many of the weapons, equipment and magic treasures inside are gone. Boo-hoo, it's not as simple as there being no more treasures in the treasury. Those bastards plundered every treasure they saw. They were not picky at all. It's only been an hour, and they've already plundered all the treasures. They're even cleaning up for us. The kitchen is done for too. Those precious ingredients, snacks, pastries, and even today's lunch and dinner have all been taken away. Even the kitchen utensils have been taken. Do they still have any shame? Oh God, who is the thief here? That Master Mateto is definitely a veteran. He must be a habitual criminal in the universe. I don't know how much treasure he has plundered. Report this matter to the leader immediately. This matter has become too big. It is no longer something we can handle. The faces of many soldiers turned green. After searching around, they discovered that not only the crystal fragrant rice and the 9 heaven living soil were taken away, but anything valuable in the base was also taken away by Master Mateto. It was said that some unlucky soldiers were stripped naked because the clothes they were wearing were a little more valuable. They could only run away naked. The scene was so miserable that it would make anyone who heard it cry. For a moment, the base was filled with cries of anguish. What happened on the Crystal Star was quickly transmitted to the headquarters of the Red Scarf Bandits. The Red Scarf Bandits' leader and many elders were informed of this. What did you say? The Crystal Star was robbed. Not only was the crystal fragrant rice completely plundered, even the 9 heaven living soil was dug up. Not a single drop was left. Hearing this news, an elder was so angry that he fainted. The surrounding people quickly pinched his philtrum and performed various first aid. Only then did they barely manage to save the elder's little life. Damn it, where is Jiang Jun and the base commander? What did they do? We let them stay on the Crystal Star to protect the crystal fragrant rice. They actually neglected their duties. Are they tired of living? A grumpy elder cursed. He flew into a rage and was extremely angry. Tell the 2 of them to come back immediately. This father wants to capture them alive and carry out the 3 knives and 6 holes punishment. His murderous aura was soaring. Obviously, he was very angry and wanted to kill Jiang Jun and the other people in charge to vent his anger. Elder, Jiang Jun and Sir Jiang Jun are already dead. That enemy, Master Mateto, is extremely cruel. As soon as he entered, he started a massacre. Anyone with a little bit of strength was killed by him. Not a single one was left. That person reported this news while trembling with fear. What? Many elders were taken aback. But in fact, they had already expected this. If Jiang Jun and the others were not dead, How could they let the enemy enter the base to plunder the crystal-fragrant rice and 9 heaven-living soil? Bastard, which son of a bitch is Master Potato? He dared to cause trouble in our Red Scarf Bandits and robbed so many of our treasures. This old man will absolutely not forgive him. A Red Scarf Bandit elder roared with a hideous expression. He was extremely angry. This Master Potato came to their important base to kill and set fire to it. He even took away so many treasures. This was simply digging the roots of their Red Scarf Bandits. One must know that the crystal-fragrant rice was their biggest source of income. Their life and death depended on the crystal-fragrant rice. But now it was all gone. Not even a single grain of rice was left for them. Then what should they do about the deal they had agreed to before? One must know that they could not afford to offend those who traded with them. This Master Potato clearly wanted them to die. Investigate. Immediately investigate the identity of this Master Potato. This old man wants to know the news of his 18 generations of ancestors. Once we find them, we will turn out in full force. This old man will kill his entire family. He robbed our things. This old man will make him spit it out 10 times. A debt of blood must be paid in blood. A group of Red Scarf Bandit elders were furious and murderous. Obviously, they hated Master Potato to the extreme. If they knew Master Potato's identity, they would turn out in full force and ruthlessly retaliate. They were interstellar pirates. Seeking revenge for the smallest grievance was their nature. Not to mention that Master Potato did such a thing. It was even more hateful than killing their parents. Set off to Crystal Star. Find Master Potato and kill him. The Red Scarf Bandit leader gritted his teeth and issued an order. A terrifying killing intent permeated from his body and condensed into a substance. The whole planet trembled slightly. Countless creatures were shivering. Yes, leader. A group of elders roared and immediately took action. They had never been so united before. No matter what faction they belonged to before, they all put down their competition and wanted to kill Master Potato. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, battleships came out of the Red Scarf Bandits' headquarters. They covered the sky and earth. There were at least 100,000 battleships. It was equivalent to the military power of a small country. It was extremely terrifying. They were all heading towards Crystal Star. They vowed to catch that little Master Potato and kill his entire family. Chapter 1369. At that moment, the stars had already left Crystal Planet. With the ability of a Saint-class spaceship, it had performed a space jump and traveled tens of thousands of light years in just a few minutes. Even if the Red Scarf Bandits' army arrived, they would not be able to find any traces of Xiaoping. After all, the universe was just too big. Once he escaped, it would be like searching for a needle in a haystack. At that moment, Xiaoping entered the space of the mountain river Pearl. Quite a change. Xiaoping sensed the environment in the space of the mountain river Pearl. Compared to a few months ago, the space of the mountain river Pearl had undergone an earth-shattering change. First of all, the barren environment had been planted with countless plants. It was lush, as if the space had transformed into a world of plants. This was all thanks to the green ox. It had transplanted all sorts of plants into the space of the mountain river Pearl. At the same time, it had sorted out the spirit meridians of this continent and slowly restored the ability of the space. Even though the mountain river Pearl was still severely damaged, the space had been restored to a place suitable for ordinary people to live in. The surroundings were filled with fresh air. The barbaric dragon rabbits are growing very well. Xiaoping looked around. The only creatures in this space were the barbaric dragon rabbits that he had captured from the true dragon nest. The barbaric dragon rabbits were indeed creatures with extremely strong reproductive abilities. In this place where there were no natural enemies, they had tried their best to reproduce. In just 3 months, their population had increased to 30 million. This was equivalent to the population of a small country. Although this was nothing for the huge space of the mountain river Pearl, this number was still quite shocking. Fortunately, this was the space of the mountain river Pearl. Plants grew tens of times faster than the outside world, so the barbaric dragon rabbits had plenty of food. Otherwise, it was unknown how many barbaric dragon rabbits would have starved to death. Their reproductive abilities are really amazing. Xiaoping sighed. It seemed like these barbaric dragon rabbits could already be sold as goods. Even if they were not sold, they could be eaten by themselves. This was greatly beneficial to cultivators. Master, you actually obtained the 9 heaven living soil? That's great, that's really great. The green ox soon realized that Xiaoping had not only entered the space of the mountain river pearl to inspect, but he had also brought 2 treasures. One was the crystal fragrant rice, and the other was the 9 heaven living soil. It was immediately extremely excited because the 9 heaven living soil was extremely beneficial to the space of the mountain river pearl. Yes, but it doesn't seem to be much. Xiaoping tossed out all the 9 heaven life soil he had on him, and it quickly piled up into a small mountain. However, compared to the space within the bead of mountains and rivers, which had a diameter of over 10 light years, this bit of 9 heaven life soil was just a drop in the ocean. No. It's enough. It's completely enough. The green ox was overjoyed. Enough? But why do I think that group of red scarf bandits only used this amount of 9 heaven living soil to cover 10,000 mu of land? Xiaoping felt that this amount of 9 heaven living soil was not enough. Those are all idiots. They don't know how to use the 9 heaven growing soil at all. The green ox said disdainfully, the 9 heaven living soil is a marvel of the universe. It's compressed by a black hole, and then tempered by chaotic air currents. It's a product that only appears after countless years of tempering. It's extremely dense, and even a grain of the 9 heaven living soil weighs 500 kilograms. Of course, its most important characteristic is that it can grow continuously and endlessly. If it's given enough time, even a single grain of 9 heaven growing soil can grow into a continent. Xiaoping raised his brows. Is that true? But that group of red scarf bandits doesn't seem to have increased the amount of 9 heaven living soil. That's because they don't know how to use the 9 heaven living soil. Even if they want to grow endlessly, they can't just throw it on the ground, and it will automatically grow. How can there be such a simple thing in this world? The green ox smiled slightly. It needs to absorb chaotic aura to replenish its energy. Only then can it reproduce by itself and continuously increase the amount of 9 heaven living soil. However, ordinary cultivators probably don't even know where to absorb chaotic aura. Therefore, a marvel of the universe like the 9 heaven living soil is like a pearl covered in dust in their hands. It was very disdainful of that group of red scarf bandits, thinking that they were all country bumpkins. Chaotic aura? Xiaoping blinked and looked at the green ox. Master, watch how I absorb the chaotic energy of the universe. The green ox did not waste any time, and immediately acted. It drew a line in the void, and a huge and complicated formation immediately appeared in the void. It was like a 6-pointed star, and the lines of the formation were engraved in the void like imprints. At the same time, the entire pearl of mountains and rivers was trembling, emitting mysterious and powerful energy that was channeled into the formation. Boom! In the next second, a black hole immediately opened up in the formation. Chaotic aura swirled inside, as if a passageway had been opened up, connecting to the energy in the depths of countless dimensions. This is chaotic energy? Xiaoping's pupils contracted. He could sense that the depths of this black hole contained an extremely massive energy. It seemed that because of the power of the pearl of mountains and rivers and the formation, it was able to connect to the energy in the depths of the universe. Rumble, the green ox immediately acted, controlling the formation. Large amounts of chaotic aura surged out from the depths of the black hole, rapidly covering the 9 heaven living soil on the ground. The 9 heaven living soil also seemed to have been starving for a very long time. It continuously breathed and devoured the chaotic aura. In the time of a few breaths, the 9 heaven living soil, which was originally the size of a small mountain, grew rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye after receiving the chaotic energy. In an instant, it grew into a mountain that was several thousand meters tall. Move mountains and fill seas. The green ox formed seals with both hands. It was as if it was the god of this world, controlling the 9 heaven living soil to cover the original soil, rapidly replacing the original soil. One day later, Xiaoping once again entered the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. However, he discovered that the space had undergone an astonishing change. The surroundings were filled with dense spiritual qi, which was 100 or even 1,000 times denser than before. There was also black soil everywhere on the ground, which seemed to contain abundant energy. This was spiritual soil, which was very suitable for the growth of spiritual objects. A large amount of crystal fragrant rice seeds were planted on it. Such black soil had already covered a range of 10,000 kilometers. The plants growing on the black soil all contained spirituality, as if they had undergone evolution. Their growth rate had also increased significantly. Without a doubt, this black soil was the 9 heaven living soil. Master, the progress is very smooth, the green ox said excitedly. In another few months' time, the 9 heaven living soil will continue to devour chaotic energy, and it will rapidly multiply. The soil in the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers will be completely replaced by the 9 heaven living soil. When that time comes, the entire world will be transformed into a world suitable for growing spiritual objects. This is a huge herb garden. That's right. Xiaoping could sense that due to the appearance of the 9 heaven living soil, the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers seemed to have recovered some of its functions. The air was filled with active energy, which was extremely beneficial to various living creatures. Chapter 1370. No, I can't break through now. Xiaoping resisted the urge to break through now. He had a hunch that once he broke through to the middle stage of the treasure refining realm, the bloodline power in his body would be strong to a certain extent. At that time, it would definitely attract the heavenly tribulation. If he underwent the heavenly tribulation in the void of the universe, the power would be more than 10 times more terrifying than in an ordinary place. Even if he had a saint-class spaceship to resist it, it would be useless because it would anger the heavens and cause an even more terrifying heavenly tribulation to erupt. It would be suicidal. If he wanted to resist the heavenly tribulation, he could only rely on himself. External forces and magic treasures were useless. I have to find a planet to land on and break through. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. Xiaoping, there is a life planet nearby with rich spiritual qi. It's very suitable for you to cultivate in seclusion and resist the heavenly tribulation. Corinne also knew about Xiaoping's situation and immediately searched for the surrounding planets. But this planet is a bit troublesome. What trouble? Xiaoping asked. It seems to have an owner and has already been occupied by some forces. If the other party finds out, there might be a conflict, Corinne said in a deep voice, indicating that the planet had a certain degree of risk. Don't worry so much. Anyway, this planet is very big. We can just find a place to cultivate in seclusion and then leave after transcending the heavenly tribulation. There won't be any problems. Xiaoping said. Okay. Corinne nodded and immediately drove the stars. Boom. In the next second, the void trembled, and the stars appeared in a primitive mountain range on this planet. It stretched for hundreds of thousands of kilometers and was lush with lush plants and rich spiritual qi. It's here. Xiaoping got the stars to hide nearby, while he found a cave with dense spirit veins. Then, he looked at the surrounding spirit veins and immediately set up a spirit gathering formation to gather the nearby spirit energy in the cave. At the same time, he also set up a hallucination formation to cover the spiritual qi fluctuations in this place, so that when he broke through, he would not be discovered by others and cause trouble. It's done. Xiaoping sensed the surrounding spiritual qi. When the spirit gathering formation was set up successfully, the spiritual qi in this cave was 100 times denser than before. It seemed to have condensed into a liquid. One could well imagine that this planet was definitely a treasured land for cultivation. There were spiritual veins everywhere, and it was extraordinary. However, he did not care about this for now. He sat cross-legged and immediately began to cultivate in seclusion. Crash, Xiaoping operated the pure yang immortal art. His body seemed to have turned into a whirlpool, crazily devouring the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. The majestic energy quickly integrated into his limbs and bones. The spiritual power in his Zifu space was also increasing rapidly. It was constantly rising. In just a moment, it had reached the perfect state. He had reached the limit. At this moment, a huge amount of spiritual energy was flowing through his meridians, crazily cleansing every inch of his muscles and cells, tempering his physique and strengthening his physique bit by bit. Breakthrough. After an unknown period of time, Xiaoping was enlightened. It was like water flowing when the conditions were right. Once his spiritual energy reached a certain level, it naturally spread out into the void outside. Dong. In the depths of the Z Kingdom's space, a space barrier was broken. Immediately, the empty space expanded rapidly. A huge amount of mana poured in from the meridians, filling up the empty space. Middle stage treasure refining realm. Xiaoping immediately knew that he had finally increased his cultivation. His spiritual energy and divine sense were both increasing rapidly. Compared to before, they were more than twice as strong. At this moment, his meridians were also undergoing earth-shattering changes. Under the operation of his spiritual power, his meridians were twisting like space-time wormholes. His blood vessels were surging like heavenly dragons, containing a mysterious and powerful power. If someone had opened the heaven's eye and could see through Xiaoping's body, they would definitely see a shocking scene. These meridians and blood vessels seemed to be in a mess, but under the effect of the mysterious power, they began to organize themselves and turned into mysterious arrays that resonated with the heaven and earth. Also, these human body arrays seemed to have the power to smelt the heaven and earth. Like a furnace, they devoured the different powers between heaven and earth and tempered their physique. There was a huge array that burned like a flame, transforming into a golden crow of hell that devoured the power of heaven and earth. There was a huge array that appeared with stars in the sky. One after another, the stars revolved and rumbled, absorbing the power of the stars in the void. There was a huge array that turned into a black and white millstone, slowly rotating, devouring the power of yin and yang in the heaven and earth. It seemed to contain the laws of heaven and earth, ruling over the 6 paths of heaven and earth. Other than that, one after another array appeared, each with their own functions. When they merged with the physique, they gave birth to unimaginable power. Behind Xiaoping, many phenomena appeared. There was a blazing sun rising into the sky, a Kuan-Peng flying in the sky, a golden crow of hell flying in the sky, a heavenly dragon roaring, and a world tree standing in the void. Fortunately, he had built many arrays around him to prevent these phenomena from leaking out. Otherwise, it would have alerted others and caused great trouble. So strong! Xiaoping could feel his physique strengthening at a speed visible to the naked eye. The star body, golden crow of hell, azure monarch body, and other special physiques were also improving at an insane rate. At this moment, he finally understood what the artifact forging level was. Cultivators of this realm could not only condense large arrays and refine Dharma treasures, but they could also refine their own bodies like Dharma treasures, condensing them into a Dharma body and reaching the seamless realm. Forging treasures is also tempering the body. Xiaoping's eyes flashed with a terrifying light. Deep in his pupils, there was a mysterious array that contained the power of a skill that tore through the void. Oh, the bloodline power of the golden crow of hell has indeed increased. At this moment, Xiaoping could feel the golden crow of hell cells in his body unsealing at an insane rate. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000. At this time, the number of golden crow of hell cells in his body had reached 100,000, and every single cell was like a small sun, emitting boundless heat. The heat of 100,000 small suns was simply unimaginable. Xiaoping felt the blood in his body boiling, as though it was about to combust. He had turned into a fire elemental creature, and every pore on his body was spewing out flames. When these flames stacked together, it was like a sea of fire, burning the heaven and earth and leaving scars in the void. Even the ground crackled from the heat, turning into a sea of lava. The arrays that were built around him also made cracking sounds because of the flames, as though they were cracking. The arrays were on the verge of collapsing. His golden crow of hell body had also improved greatly, as though it had broken through a bottleneck. Small fire arrays appeared on the surface of his skin, mysterious, ancient and noble. Oh! Chapter 1371. Boom! Xiaoping stretched out his hand, and a fire formation appeared. Countless flames gathered together and formed a golden claw. Ancient runes could be seen on the surface of the claw, exuding an ancient, primal, and noble aura. Infernal Golden Crow Claw. He immediately understood. The bloodline skill he had awakened this time was the Infernal Golden Crow Claw. Dong! Xiaoping waved gently, and the claw tore through the wind. It contained 5 terrifying forces and swept across. A mountain in the distance was instantly torn into 5 pieces. Even the ground had 5 huge cracks that extended for dozens of kilometers. At the same time, the claw exploded with terrifying flame power. Everywhere the claw passed by turned into a sea of fire. The mountain in the distance was surrounded by flames and turned into a huge volcano. In a few breaths, the mountain was melted into a pile of lava that flowed everywhere. Bang! Xiaoping waved gently again, and a golden claw slapped down towards a mountain in the distance. It was like slapping tofu. The 1,000-meter-tall mountain was instantly flattened and crushed into powder. A huge claw appeared on the ground. It was as if it had left an eternal mark on the ground. The area within a radius of thousands of kilometers trembled and roared. What a strong attack! Xiaoping exclaimed. He had awakened several Infernal Golden Crow skills before, such as Infernal Golden Crow Wings, Infernal Golden Crow Eyes, Infernal Golden Crow Heart, Infernal Golden Crow Stomach, and so on. They were all supportive bloodline skills. But it was different this time. He had awakened an attack-type skill. The claw contained tearing power, flame power, destruction power, the power of the Golden Crow, and the power of hell. When these powers were stacked together, it was extremely powerful. With one claw, the enemy would be turned into powder immediately. It could be said that this was one of the strongest attack-type skills and a real killer move. According to the legends, the Golden Crow's claw could tear apart the body of a true dragon. One could imagine how powerful the claw was. It was definitely extraordinary. What a strong bloodline power. Xiaoping silently felt the Infernal Golden Crow bloodline in his body. After awakening 100,000 Infernal Golden Crow cells, he felt that his bloodline power had reached a peak. Every single vein in his body flowed with lava-like blood, emitting a scorching smell. It was like boiling lava, and a single drop of his blood could turn the surrounding 100 miles into a sea of flames. At the same time, the power in his body rose steadily. After inheriting the immense power of the Golden Crow of Hell, his muscles, bones, skin, and other parts were all fully tempered, reaching an inhuman level. Awakening 100,000 Golden Crow Hell cells is already so scary. I wonder what will happen if I awaken 1 million Golden Crow Hell cells. Xiaoping clenched his fists, feeling the power within him. Even though he had lost all of his spiritual power, he could still shatter a mountain with one punch with his powerful physique. This was what it meant to be able to communicate with the gods with boundless divine power. Just at this moment, Xiaoping felt a trace of fear in his heart. He raised his head and saw that at some point, the surrounding area was covered in dark clouds. The lightning tribulation was already brewing, and heavy rain was pouring down. Dark clouds surged within 1,000 li, black air currents pervading the air. Flood dragons could vaguely be seen, spewing out all kinds of heaven and earth killing formations. They contained boundless killing intent, as if they were going to turn the world upside down. Rumbled deep within the dark clouds, a bolt of lightning exploded, producing a sound like that of a landslide or a tsunami. The air vibrated for hundreds of thousands of times, creating a terrifying destructive power that tore everything apart. The various illusionary formations that Xiaoping had set up around him were torn apart and completely destroyed. There was no way to hide them anymore. Dozens of shocking cracks appeared on the ground due to the sound waves. 36 stages of lightning tribulation. Xiaoping's expression was solemn. This time, the lightning tribulation was more than 10 times scarier than the previous one. It wasn't as simple as having 9 stages of lightning tribulation. The power of each lightning bolt was more terrifying than the previous one combined. If one lightning bolt landed on the ground, it would be enough to turn dozens of mountains within 100 li into dust. Rivers and lakes would also be leveled. Even the sound of the explosion of the lightning would cause a normal treasure refining realm cultivator to bleed from their orifices if they were careless. If they were hit by one lightning bolt, they would be smashed into pieces and turned into a charred corpse. Oh my God, how did Master get struck by lightning? Moreover, it's 36 stages of lightning tribulation. Isn't he only at the treasure refining realm? The mountain and river pearls artifact spirit, the green ox, noticed this situation and was dumbfounded. It couldn't understand this matter at all. After all, lightning tribulation would only attract the jealousy of heaven and earth when one was about to step into the sage realm, triggering the killing intent of heaven and earth and sending down lightning tribulation. But it had never heard of a treasure refining realm cultivator triggering the killing intent of heaven and earth and sending down lightning tribulation. After all, heaven and earth were so mighty and aloof. Treasure refining realm cultivators were nothing but ants to heaven and earth. What qualifications did they have to trigger the killing intent of heaven and earth? Wasn't this nonsense? Bumpkin, have you never seen someone get struck by lightning? You really have no knowledge. Eating grass all day is bad for your brain. Corinne immediately looked at the green ox in disdain. It wanted to find an opportunity to insult the green ox. What? The green ox went crazy and almost died from anger. It wanted to fight with Corinne, but it endured and looked at Xiaoping worriedly. Forget it. I won't argue with you for the time being. Master has encountered lightning tribulation. Will he encounter any trouble? That kid is a monster. What is a mere 36 stages of lightning tribulation? It's not like he hasn't been struck by lightning before. Corinne indicated that this was a very common thing. After following Xiaoping for a while, it became accustomed to it. The green ox was speechless. It had been struck before. And this was not the first time. The question was, why did Master trigger the killing intent of heaven and earth and get struck by lightning? Could it be because of the terrifying, sacred and ancient bloodline power in Master's body? It had followed Xiaoping for a long time, and naturally knew that Xiaoping's body contained a terrifying bloodline power. It was extremely mysterious and ancient, and even it couldn't know the source. Big brother has been struck by lightning. Feng Hetong, who was hiding in the nearby multitude stars, also saw the scene outside. He saw Xiaoping standing in the air with the terrifying tribulation cloud above his head, and vaguely thunder descending. He has done too many bad things. Sure enough, bad people will be struck by lightning. Yuchichi was gloating. There won't be any trouble, right? Jiang Yara was a little worried. There shouldn't be any problem. This hooligan doesn't seem to be worried at all. There shouldn't be a big problem. Suji sensed that Xiaoping's mood was very calm. It didn't seem like he was facing a disaster. The lightning tribulation has descended. Chu Rong cried out in alarm. Everyone looked over. When the black clouds condensed to the extreme, the brewing power of the lightning tribulation seemed to be unable to endure any longer. Immediately, countless lightning bolts fell from the sky and bombarded Xiaoping's body. Chapter 1372. As Xiaoping was facing the 36th heavenly tribulation, the fluctuations of the heavenly tribulation were too great, affecting a radius of over 10,000 kilometers. Many cultivators in the mountain range immediately sensed it. Whoosh, whoosh. A few minutes later, dozens of figures flew over from all directions. They all landed on a mountain a few miles away from Xiaoping. After all, the power of the retribution was too terrifying. They didn't dare to get close. They all wore the same uniform, and were at least in the transcendent realm. When they saw the clouds in the sky and the occasional lightning, their expressions changed. Retribution? No way. Is a retribution realm cultivator going through the retribution here? He's going to become a saint. Someone was shocked. Becoming a saint was a big deal, especially for retribution realm cultivators. They needed to make all kinds of preparations to pass the retribution. After all, it was a process of transcending mortality and becoming a saint. If they succeeded, they would reach the heavens in a single step. If they failed, they would die. If the other party was a retribution realm cultivator, they would be dead for sure. They might be slapped to death by the enraged retribution realm cultivator. They wouldn't even have time to cry then. No, he's not a retribution realm cultivator. I can sense that kid's martial aura. He's at most in the middle stage of the refining realm. Someone shook his head. He was very sensitive to martial aura and could sense Xiaoping's martial strength. What? The refining realm? But why would he trigger the retribution realm? I once heard that before the ancient sages became saints, they were envied by the heavens. Every time they advanced to a higher realm, they would be struck by lightning. They would temper themselves and forge an invincible posture. I wonder if this person is the same? Are you kidding me? It's just a legend. How can it be true? Yeah, there are so many monsters in the universe. I've never seen anyone face the retribution realm every time they break through. Not necessarily. The universe is so big. It's not surprising that there are some things we haven't seen or heard of. If that's true, then this kid's talent is terrifying. He might even surpass all the disciples of our Gui Yuan sect. Everyone discussed, their expressions becoming very serious. Wait, have you seen this kid before? Why do I feel like he's not a disciple of my origin sect? Someone suddenly said, staring at Xiaoping, who was going through the tribulation. He felt that the young man was very unfamiliar. That's right. I've never seen him before either. Logically speaking, this planet is a place where the disciples of our Gui Yuan sect train. It is the property of our Gui Yuan sect. There are many arrays set up around the planet to prevent enemies from entering. If this kid is an outsider, how did he get in? Someone also noticed the abnormality. Many people were shocked. They also thought of this. If this kid wasn't a disciple of the Gui Yuan sect, then wasn't he an intruder? This was a huge matter. Furthermore, the planet's defensive array formation was extremely powerful. Even a golden core cultivator would not be able to force his way through. However, they did not know that Xiaoping had the star's multitude. An ordinary array formation could not stop it at all. It easily passed through the array formation and reached the planet's interior. An intruder? Damn it! Someone shouted. His eyes revealed a hint of fierceness. This planet is the Gui Yuan sect's territory. Someone actually entered this place to break through. He even plans to go through the tribulation and absorb our spiritual energy. This is a huge crime. I suggest that we capture this kid immediately and hand him over to the elders of the sect to deal with. Or we don't have to go through so much trouble. According to the sect's rules, any intruder is an enemy. We can kill him first and report later. We can kill him on the spot. He was filled with murderous intent. He wanted to capture Xiaoping and kill him. Many people were tempted to make a move. Killing an invader was a great merit in the Gui Yuan sect. Not to mention that the other party was a demon who was undergoing the lightning tribulation. If they killed this fellow, they might be able to obtain the precious treasures on him. Wait. Someone waved his hand and said, I'm afraid it's impossible to kill this person now. Didn't you see how terrifying the tribulation is? I'm afraid that if we get close, we, who are in the divine power realm, will be smashed into pieces by the lightning. Only those in the treasure refinement realm can barely get close to the tribulation. Let's wait for the seniors to come. He was a very cautious person. He would not fight a battle without preparation. The problem is, when will the seniors get here? Someone said unhappily. That person said, don't worry. I just sent a message to the seniors. They are training nearby. I think they will be here soon. Don't worry. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. A few minutes later, 5 to 6 strong forces descended on the mountain peak. The leader was wearing a golden robe. He looked very young and carried a golden broadsword on his back. He had the aura of the peak of the treasure refinement realm. He seemed to be about to step into the true fire realm. Every move he made was extremely terrifying. Behind him were 5 treasure refinement realm experts. 3 of them were in the middle stage of the treasure refinement realm, and 2 of them were in the late stage of the treasure refinement realm. All of them were extremely arrogant, as if they were favored by the heavens. Tell me what happened. The man in the golden robe looked around and immediately asked. Senior Lu Long. One of them immediately answered. We found someone going through the tribulation here. However, we have never seen this person before. His cultivation method is also very strange. I think he is not a disciple of the Gui Yuan sect. I'm afraid he is an intruder. Going through the tribulation. The man in the golden robe was shocked when he heard this. He looked at Xia Ping in the distance. He saw Xia Ping standing in the middle of the thunder tribulation. Lightning bolts were as thick as buckets and contained terrifying power. Just one lightning bolt would probably be able to destroy dozens of mountains. However, Yi Futian was still unharmed. He was bathed in the countless lightning bolts. This showed how strong his cultivation was, and how extraordinary it was. What a strong power. What a terrifying physique. This kid must have condensed some kind of treasure. Otherwise, how could he withstand such a shocking thunder tribulation? Lu Long's eyes shone with a terrifying light. Just this alone is already so terrifying. If he goes through the thunder tribulation and advances one step further, wouldn't his strength be incredible? Wouldn't he be able to ascend to the heavens? He immediately felt that Xia Ping was not ordinary. His talent was definitely above his, and he was still far away from him. He was very jealous of such a genius and felt very unhappy in his heart. That's right, senior brother. This kid's talent is not ordinary. I'm afraid he has a great background. If we want to deal with this kid, we don't know how much trouble it will cause. Therefore, we are still hesitating. I hope senior brother can give us some advice. Someone asked. What other opinions do you have? Of course, we'll kill him. Lu Long laughed coldly. No matter who this person is or how high his talent is, he trespassed on the Gui Yuan sect's training planet without permission and devoured the spiritual qi in our territory. This in itself is a crime worthy of death. Chapter 1373. Lu Long's eyes flickered. He was not the kind of person who would abide by the rules of the sect. However, as long as one was not an idiot, they would know that this person who was going through the heavenly tribulation was definitely an unparalleled genius. A genius like this must be someone who carried great luck on his back. For a person with great luck, one could imagine how many treasures he had on him. He was the kind of person who could pick up treasures just by walking around. Who knew? He might have some treasures that were suitable for his cultivation. If he could kill this kid, then all the treasures on him would belong to him. This was equivalent to a fortuitous encounter. No matter how many times he trained, nothing could compare to this kind of harvest. Of course, he would not say these thoughts out loud. On the surface, he was still the impartial senior brother, who wanted to use the sect's rules to punish the intruder. What he did was reasonable. Even if this matter was brought to the sect, he would not be afraid. Convey my orders. Move immediately and capture this person. Lu Long shouted. That kid is only a cultivator in the intermediate stage of the treasure refining realm. No matter how strong he is, he can't be that strong. Plus, he is going through the heavenly tribulation and is in danger. Kill him while he is down. Kill him first. After we get the treasures, we will split them evenly. He ordered the other senior brothers to move immediately and kill Xia Ping. Yes, senior brother Lu Long. The group of Gui Yuan sect disciples nodded. With someone taking the lead, they had nothing to worry about. Wait. Suddenly, Xia Ping's voice came from the thunderstorm. This time, I accidentally entered your sect to cultivate without informing you. This is indeed my fault. However, there is a reason for this. The heavenly tribulation is urgent, and I had no choice. Here are 3 bottles of dragon blood. They are treasures I found in some ancient ruins. I am giving them to you now as an apology. This can also make up for your losses. After I pass the heavenly tribulation, I will give you more gifts. I hope everyone can give me some face. As soon as he finished speaking, the 3 bottles of dragon blood flew out and arrived in front of the golden-robed man and the others. The golden-robed man Lu Long grabbed the 3 bottles of dragon blood. Even though they were separated by the bottles, everyone could feel the intense heat coming from the 3 bottles of dragon blood. It was like a burning flame, containing a terrifying amount of energy. My God, this really is dragon blood. A treasure refinement realm cultivator immediately noticed the 3 bottles of dragon blood. He was knowledgeable and immediately recognized that they weren't fakes. They were genuine dragon blood. Is this for real? He can actually take out dragon blood. The Dragon Clan is one of the strongest clans in the universe. Every single one of them is terrifyingly strong. Furthermore, they live in the dragon clan's mystic realm and rarely appear in the outside world. It is extremely difficult to kill a dragon and obtain its blood. That's right. Moreover, killing a dragon is a serious crime. You'll be listed as an enemy of the dragon clan and will be hunted down for eternity. No one dares to risk offending the dragon clan and go slaying a dragon. This has also caused the value of dragon blood to soar. If such a bottle of dragon blood were to be auctioned outside, it would be worth a fortune. Furthermore, there are 3 bottles. Such a gift is indeed very sincere. It is enough to make up for our losses. Many of the Gui Yuan sect disciples were shocked. They didn't think that the person who went through the calamity would be so generous. Just as an apology, he threw out 3 bottles of dragon blood. This was an incredible gift. Their eyes were filled with desire. After all, this was the legendary dragon blood. It could temper and improve one's physique. It could even help one break through bottlenecks. Many cultivators wanted it. Without a doubt, this was a great treasure. Even the treasure refinement realm cultivators were tempted. If they could get these 3 bottles of dragon blood, they might be able to increase their chances of breaking through to the true fire realm. Moreover, this was a treasure that could not be bought with money. Fool, Lu Long sneered. It's just a small profit and you're all bought over. Why don't you think about it? This kid threw out 3 bottles of dragon blood just to survive. How many treasures does he have on him? If we kill him, all these treasures will be ours. We don't need him to give us anything. He pointed out the crux of the problem. Everyone's eyes immediately revealed a greedy look. They were indeed moved by Lu Long's words. 3 bottles of dragon blood. Yet he had casually tossed them out. One could imagine that to him, these weren't any precious treasures. But thinking about it this way, it was terrifying how many treasures this kid had. Maybe this kid was a moving treasure trove. If they killed him, all the treasures would belong to them. If they were foolishly bought over by the 3 bottles of dragon blood, it would be like throwing away a watermelon and picking up a sesame seed. If word got out, they would be laughed at by many of their seniors and juniors. Senior brother is right. We were almost fooled by these small profits. After we kill him, won't all the treasures on him be ours? Moreover, he trespassed on the territory of the Gui Yuan sect. This is a crime punishable by death. It doesn't matter who comes. That's right. This is a matter of course. There's nothing wrong with it. The group of Gui Yuan sect disciples laughed coldly. They stared at Xia Ping, as if they were looking at a fish on the chopping board. This kid was already at their mercy. Gui Yuan sect disciples, I am already being extremely benevolent by giving you 3 bottles of dragon blood as compensation. If you still dare to disrupt my tribulation, you will pay the price with rivers of blood. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Xia Ping's eyes were filled with coldness. He was very angry. He thought that he had already given them enough face. He didn't expect them to still want to take advantage of his situation to kill him and steal his treasures. If he didn't kill a few people like them who were blinded by greed, they wouldn't know how to be a human. Did these people really think that they couldn't kill because they were undergoing the tribulation? Benevolent my ass. Trespassing on the territory of the Gui Yuan sect is a crime punishable by death. If I kill you, who would dare to say anything? Who would dare to make us pay the price with rivers of blood? What a joke. Who do you think you are? If you have the guts, come and kill me now. The group of Gui Yuan sect disciples were very disdainful. They were determined to kill Xia Ping. No matter what he said, it wouldn't stop them from killing him and stealing his treasures. Die! In an instant, Lu Long made his move. He instantly pulled out a golden broadsword from his body. There were dragon inscriptions carved on it. It contained a trace of the power of the heavenly dragon and activated the power of the void. This was a medium-grade spiritual weapon, dragon scale broadsword. It was a treasured broadsword made from the scales of the heavenly dragon. There were countless inscriptions carved on it, making it indestructible. With a swing of the broadsword, it could instantly tear a continent apart. It even contained the power of the heavenly dragon. With this medium-grade spiritual weapon, he was invincible and dominated the treasure-forging realm. Boom! Chapter 1374. As expected of senior brother Lu, the power of this attack is already close to the peak of the treasure-refining realm. It seems like this kid is dead for sure. He will die with just one blade. A treasure-refining realm middle-stage Gui Yuan sect disciple praised. The others nodded as well. They could also feel the terror of Lu Long's attack. Using the power of heaven and earth to condense the power of the blade, coupled with the power of the dragon scale blade, it was simply invincible. Not to mention that the kid was already in a half-dead state after being struck by the lightning. Now that he was being attacked by Lu Long, it was simply a pincer attack. How could he not die? Scram! Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and looked at the Good Yuan sect disciple's attack. He suddenly made a move. He stretched out his 5 fingers and compressed them towards his palm. Countless air currents in the air were pulled down by him like curtains. What? Many Good Yuan sect disciples were shocked. They saw the air condense into a solid state. The air currents within a radius of 10 miles all collapsed towards the kid's palm, forming a huge air current whirlpool. These air currents gathered together and compressed crazily. The density increased to an extremely high degree and turned into an air barrier. It was incomparably hard like a steel wall. Even mica steel could not compare to it. Dong! The dragon scale blade slashed down from the air and fiercely struck the air barrier. A clanging sound was heard as if a blade and a sword had collided, causing dazzling sparks. Impossible! Lu Long was shocked. This was a strike that he was determined to succeed. He thought that even if this strike could not kill this kid, it would at least severely injure him. Who would have thought that something like this would happen? Oh no! Soon he realized that trouble had come. The air barrier had turned into a whirlpool. Like a huge beast, it tightly grabbed onto the dragon scale blade in his hand. The whirlpool contained a terrifying devouring power. Lu Long's face turned red, and he used all his strength. However, no matter how much he urged and how much strength he used, the blade did not move an inch. It was as if it was trapped. Bang! Xiaoping waved his hand and slapped with his other hand. The surrounding air was quickly repelled, forming a vacuum zone. The entire area seemed to have collapsed. Ah! Lu Long let out a blood-curdling screech. His entire body was sent flying, and the tyrannical force seeped into his internal organs, causing his skin to rupture and a large amount of blood to flow out. Boom! In the next second, he was sent flying more than 10 kilometers and smashed into a mountain wall. He couldn't even hold the dragon scale saber in his hand, and it fell to the ground. You want to launch a sneak attack with such little ability? Go back and train for a few more years. Don't embarrass yourself here. Xiaoping casually sent Lu Long flying with a slap and ignored him. The most important thing right now was to defend against the lightning tribulation. At this moment, lightning bolts as thick as water buckets descended, bombarding his body in a frenzy. However, he executed his martial path mystic arts, causing the void to tremble and shatter the bolts of lightning. Immediately, his body circulated a supreme technique. Every pore on his body was like a whirlpool, swallowing and absorbing the scattered lightning energy into his body. This lightning tribulation was a calamity, and also an opportunity. He wanted to make use of the lightning tribulation to train himself, and at the same time, absorb the lightning energy to increase the power of his martial path mystic arts, Lightning Fist. He could feel that as the lightning energy surged into his body, the cells in his body became more active. Tiny lightning dragons swam around the meridians in his body. Around his body, the lightning energy crackled and shot out in all directions. He was like a god of lightning. Bastard! Hearing Xiaoping's contempt, Lu Long was infuriated. He was a disciple of the Gui Yuan sect, and was known as a genius since he was young. Although he wasn't invincible, he was the kind that few could match up to. Now, he was actually sent flying with a single slap, and the other party was even going through the lightning tribulation. His pride couldn't take such a thing, and he felt that this bastard was looking down on him. Lu Long's senior and junior brothers, help me. Lu Long's expression was extremely ferocious. He shouted, immediately activate the mountain and river origin formation, and kill this brat in the void. We can't let such a monster live, we have to eliminate him. So. Hearing this, dozens of Gui Yuan sect disciples immediately flew up and quickly set up a mountain and river origin formation. This was an extremely important battle formation of the Gui Yuan sect. It could combine the power of countless disciples, affect the heavens and earth, and control the power of the mountains and rivers to fight against strong enemies. It was almost invincible. The moment this formation was formed, countless mana surged from every corner, immediately transforming into mountains and rivers. It was as though a map of the country had appeared in the void. These Gui Yuan sect disciples frantically channeled their mana, transforming into rivers in the void, traversing across the void, increasing the power of this formation by more than a few times. Kill. Lu Long couldn't wait any longer. He immediately controlled the mountain and river origin formation, and the dozens of Gui Yuan sect disciples to kill Xiaoping. Rumble. In an instant, the energy of the heavens and earth gathered, transforming into thousands of mountains and thousands of rivers. They crashed down from the void, bombarding towards Xiaoping. This brat is dead meat. Lu Long and the others were proud and carefree. It was as though they could see the brat in front of them being smashed into pieces by this formation, and the appearance of him being badly mutilated. This brat would definitely not be able to withstand the power of this formation. However, just as these powers bombarded Xiaoping, Xiaoping grabbed with his big hand. Martial Path Remarkable Power, Dark North Body Protection Technique. Immediately, a rock appeared in his big hand. It was filled with an aura of nothingness, and it swayed its tail. Countless profound and mysterious ancient runes appeared on the rock's body. Xiaoping's body shook, and all the attacking power was directed. The stars moved. Thousands of mountains and rivers seemed to have lost control, changing the original direction of attack. Then, this power gathered on his fist, and he punched out again. Dong! In the void, a huge tribulation cloud was smashed, and thousands of thunderbolts were immediately unsealed. It was as though the sky had been pierced through, and the atmosphere of the planet was blasted through, spreading to the starry sky. Immediately, the countless thunderbolts that descended from the tribulation cloud exploded, turning into fragments, and turned into the purest thunderbolt essence, filling the air. At this moment, Xiaoping activated the Dark North Body Protection Technique, and the stars moved, diverting the power of Lu Long and the others, and bombarding the thunderbolts in the sky, colliding with them. This was equivalent to dozens of experts helping him resist the lightning tribulation. It could be said that the attacks of Lu Long and the others not only failed to harm him, but also helped him resist multiple lightning tribulations. Devour. Xiaoping opened his mouth and swallowed. The countless thunderbolt essences in the void turned into thunder dragons, quickly entering his stomach, fusing with his body, and seeping into his limbs and bones. At this moment, every acupoint, every meridian, and even every cell in his body were filled with thunderbolt essence. This power helped to transform his body, and the power surged like a thunder dragon. Chapter 1375. Bastard, you're courting death. Lu Long's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. He was furious. Originally, he wanted to make use of everyone's attack to send this kid to hell, and let him die under the lightning trial. However, he did not expect that not only would he not be able to kill his opponent, he would even use the power of the star's transposition to guide their energy, to resist the lightning trial. Such an action was clearly a humiliation, a blatant act of looking down on him, Lu Long. He, Lu Long, was a proud and arrogant person. How could he endure such humiliation? Die for me. Lu Long was going crazy. He held the dragon scale saber, and controlled the mountain and river convergence array. He gathered the magic power of dozens of Guiyuan sect disciples on the saber. The terrifying saber force pierced through the immemorial era, and struck towards Xiaoping. Immediately, the saber slashed the area, within a 10-kilometer radius, into a vacuum zone. Circles of condensed golden energy waves appeared in the surroundings, and swept across the area. Numerous mountains were unable to withstand the shockwaves of energy, and were shaken to the point of collapse, turning into countless rocks and sand. In an instant, the mountains within a radius of 10 kilometers were razed to the ground. Scram! Xiaoping did not even look. He grabbed with his hand and compressed his 5 fingers. The endless lightning energy in the air was caught in his palm. The lightning flashed and crackled. Then he punched out. Martial Path Mystique Lightning Fist. What? The Guiyuan sect disciples were shocked. This punch was too fast. It was like lightning. Their divine senses could only capture a trace of the lightning. In the next second, Lu Long let out a shrill scream. They stared with their eyes wide open. They saw Lu Long's saber instantly shatter into powder. At the same time, the terrifying lightning energy hit his body and penetrated it. Bang bang bang. Lu Long flew out and smashed through dozens of mountains. His abdomen was pierced, and there was a bloody hole. The terrifying lightning energy was wreaking havoc in his body. At the same time, the mountains and rivers returning to origin formation was completely shattered, and the Yuan Qi backfired. One by one, the Guiyuan sect disciples let out shrill screams. They were sent flying by the terrifying Dharma power from the explosion of the array. Each of them was sent flying for 5 to 6 kilometers before they smashed into the ground, creating huge craters. They could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Obviously, they were seriously injured. Damn it! Lu Long fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was filled with unwillingness. Even though his abdomen was pierced, with his peak treasure refining realm cultivation, his life force was extremely strong. This was not a fatal injury. He hurriedly swallowed a few precious healing pills and immediately stopped the bleeding, barely keeping his little life. The others also did the same and began to heal their wounds. How could this be? Lu Long was extremely unwilling to accept this. He had joined forces with so many fellow disciples to deal with this monster. But not only did they fail to kill him, they even suffered heavy injuries. The hatred in his heart was simply indescribable. This was too embarrassing. However, Xiaoping ignored them. He did not even bother to look at these stray dogs. At that moment, the most important thing was to overcome the lightning tribulation. Everything else had to be put aside. In the void, 36 lightning tribulations descended. Each lightning bolt was more terrifying than the one before. The surrounding area was bathed in lightning energy. Even a trace of it was enough to tear a mountain apart. Dong dong dong. When Xiaoping attacked, he was like an ancient god. Every punch contained godly power, completely shattering these lightning bolts and turning them into the purest essence of lightning energy that permeated the surroundings. When the last bolt of lightning descended, Xiaoping leaped up into the sky and punched out in midair. The force of his punch shot into the sky and blasted open a large hole in the atmosphere, completely scattering the tribulation clouds. And it was peerlessly overbearing. This monster! Many Guiyuan sect disciples were dumbfounded. They could not describe their current feelings. Facing the lightning tribulation, he was still so valiant, directly facing it and shattering it with one punch. They had never seen such a tyrannical physique before. It was unprecedented. Devour! Xiaoping devoured like a whale. The countless lightning essences in the void were all absorbed into his body, entering his limbs and bones. The meridians in his body immediately swelled up and expanded continuously. Every inch of his muscles stored lightning energy. There were countless balls of lightning brewing in the depths of his cells. Lightning runes appeared one after another. This was a sign that his cells were in a state of activation. Even his blood seemed to have lightning. It was not just the lightning energy. With Xiaoping's body as the center, the mountains and spirit veins within a radius of thousands of miles all sprouted out, transforming into a heavenly dragon that drilled into his body. The moment Xiaoping destroyed the lightning tribulation, his divine sense became unprecedentedly strong. It was as though it was strengthened by the power of heaven and earth. It formed a connection with the countless stars in the starry sky. Boom! At this moment, the entire sky darkened. Stars appeared one after another, rumbling as they revolved. They were filled with the aura of the stars and resonated with each other, forming a heavenly cycle-stellar array. Oh my God! Lu Long and the others were stunned. They did not expect that just by cultivating, Lin Fan's body would actually produce so many heavenly phenomena. It was as though the heavens and earth were celebrating for him. At this moment, the stars revolved one after another. Countless astral energy descended, and the light that was visible to the naked eye was like a waterfall that was crazily infused into Xiaoping's body. Comfortable, Xiaoping could feel that his purple mansion had received the astral energy and the lightning essence energy. His spiritual power was increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye, rapidly filling up the expanded purple mansion space. He felt that his current speed of improvement had saved him at least tens of years of cultivation time. The lightning tribulation this time was a tribulation, but at the same time, it was also an opportunity for him. With the lightning essence energy, he did not need to consume too many elixirs and spiritual herbs. His spiritual power grew at an incomparably fast speed. As expected, this guy has condensed a type of treasure, the body of stars. This is one of the strongest physiques in the universe. Lu Long and the others also recognized that this kid had condensed a type of supreme physique. Therefore, such a shocking phenomenon was produced. Even after devouring so much energy, his body did not explode. If it was an ordinary person, they would have already exploded from the boundless energy. Whoosh! A few minutes later, Xiaoping had completely absorbed all the energy that gushed out from the heavens and earth. Then his figure flashed, and he appeared beside Lu Long and the others looking down from above. You, what are you trying to do? I'm telling you, don't be rash. I am a disciple of the Gui Yuan sect. If you dare to kill me, you will become an enemy of the Gui Yuan sect. Even if you flee to the corners of the universe, you will not be able to escape death. Lu Long shouted, trying to put up a strong front. The others were terrified as well. Originally, they wanted to escape, but due to the backlash of the formation, they were temporarily unable to circulate their spiritual power. Even if they wanted to escape, it was impossible. They could only stay where they were and rest, hoping to recover their strength as soon as possible. But who would have thought that the speed of passing the lightning tribulation would be so fast? And he was not injured at all. This caused them to sink into a state of despair. Oh, tell your elder to bite me. Xiaoping's expression was calm. He raised his hand, wanting to slap Lu Long and the others to death. Previously, when this group of people wanted to kill him, they did not think that he would take revenge. Now that they had fallen into a hopeless situation, they wanted to beg for mercy and live. How could there be such a good thing in this world? When you come out, you have to pay back. Stop. Chapter 1376. Xiaoping looked over, and immediately saw a middle-aged man wearing a blue robe. He was extremely muscular and had bulging muscles. He was 3 meters tall and had tyrannical strength. He arrived at the scene and immediately exuded a strong aura. Impressively, he was an expert in the early stages of the true fire realm. His divine consciousness power was like a burning flame, sweeping across the surroundings, causing people's bodies to feel hot, as though they were about to be burnt. Senior brother Zhao Hai. Seeing the middle-aged man, Zhao Hai, Lu Long, and the rest were overjoyed. They knew that reinforcements from the sect had finally arrived. This time they had hope of surviving. What's going on? Zhao Hai saw Lu Long, and the rest lying on the ground with blood dripping from their wounds. A fierce battle had just happened. Even the air was filled with the majestic power of thunder. He felt that this matter was very unusual. Senior brother, it's like this. Lu Long immediately complained and explained what had just happened. What? You said that this kid is an invader who maliciously invaded our Gui Yuan sect's territory and was just undergoing the lightning tribulation? He even personally attacked and crippled you with a few punches and kicks? Zhao Hai was shocked. No matter what Lu Long said, they were all unimaginable. Yes, this guy is an evildoer. Not only did he invade our Gui Yuan sect's territory, he even maliciously attacked us and injured many of our brothers. If it wasn't for senior brother Zhao, I'm afraid we would have died a violent death. Lu Long fiercely complained. If we don't even kill the evildoer who injured our Gui Yuan sect's disciples, then what face does our Gui Yuan sect have? I suggest that senior brother Zhao immediately capture this kid and dismember him to serve as a warning to others. He wanted to get Zhao Hai to kill Xiaoping with a borrowed knife. You've got guts. Zhao Hai stared at Xiaoping. Not only did you invade my Gui Yuan sect's territory, You even maliciously attacked and tried to kill my Gui Yuan sect's disciples. This is a serious crime that cannot be forgiven. Obediently surrender now, and immediately follow me back to the Gui Yuan sect's headquarters to kneel and apologize. Perhaps the sect elders will be lenient and spare your dog life. He was bossy, giving orders to Xia Ping as if he was ordering his own subordinates. Kneel and apologize. Hearing this, Xia Ping immediately laughed. He laughed very loudly. It is indeed my fault for unintentionally trespassing on Gui Yuan sect's territory. However, there is a reason for this. Furthermore, I have given you sufficient compensation to make up for your losses. This is also a sign of my sincerity. However, how did the disciples of the Gui Yuan sect treat me? They were tempted by greed and actually launched a sneak attack when I was undergoing my lightning tribulation. They wanted to kill me and steal my treasures. They bullied me with numbers and tried to murder me for my treasures. That was why I was forced to retaliate. Now, not only are you not apologizing, but you actually want to take me to the Gui Yuan sect to beg for forgiveness and become a prisoner of the Gui Yuan sect. Your Gui Yuan sect claims to be a righteous sect, but this is how you do things? Impudent. Zhao Hai's angry shout was like a clap of thunder. The sound waves spread for 1,000 miles, and the surrounding mountains were shattered. The surrounding cultivators were shaken to the point that their blood and qi were in turmoil. They almost vomited blood and died. Lu Long and the others were shocked. This was the divine sense power of a true fire realm warrior. An angry shout contained a terrifying spiritual wave that could instantly kill the soul and subdue the enemy without a fight. However, Xia Ping did not move at all. He was like a reef in the sea. Even if he experienced stormy waves, he would not move. For him, who had already advanced to the middle stage of the treasure refining realm, a mere true fire realm's divine sense attack was nothing. It was like a gentle breeze, not even worth mentioning. What? Zhao Hai's pupil shrank. He immediately felt that Xia Ping was not ordinary. This angry shout contained the divine sense attack of a true fire realm warrior. Ordinary treasure refining realm cultivators, even those at the peak of the treasure refining realm, would have their minds go blank for a moment under this angry shout. However, this kid did not move at all. One could imagine how terrifying the other party's divine sense was. It was definitely not below his own. You have some ability. You can actually resist my divine sense attack. No wonder you dare to cause trouble in my Gui Yuan sect. Zhao Hai stared at Xia Ping. Cause trouble? Is this what you think? This group of people came to kill me for money, but I'm the one causing trouble. Xia Ping squinted his eyes. It seems like your Gui Yuan sect is used to being overbearing. You can't even tell right from wrong. Then what do you want? Zhao Hai sneered. My Gui Yuan sect is a saint-class sect that rules over the 4 major galaxies. It has been passed down for more than 100 million years. Do you want my Gui Yuan sect to apologize and kowtow to you? You must be joking. Who do you think you are? A Thunder Retribution Realm expert or a sage? You need to know your place. Don't make a mistake. He looked at Xia Ping with contempt. It was obvious that he wanted to use his power to suppress Xia Ping. Even if this matter was the fault of the Gui Yuan sect, he would not admit it. It was simply wishful thinking to make a disciple of a saint-class sect lower his head. Unless a sage descended, it was absolutely impossible. Forget it. It's useless to talk nonsense with you. Wait until I kill these people who want to kill me, then I'll deal with you. Xia Ping no longer wanted to waste his energy on Zhao Hai. He directly killed him. Whoosh. He suddenly made a move. His fist contained the power of thunder. Martial Dao magic lightning fist. Immediately, a bolt of lightning appeared in the air. It moved in a zigzagging trajectory towards Lu Long and the others. It carried endless killing intent, as if it could turn the world upside down. Senior brother Zhao, save us. Lu Long and the others were scared out of their wits. They didn't think that a true fire realm expert would dare to kill them in front of them. His guts were boundless. They shouted repeatedly, asking for help from Zhao Hai. How dare you? You're courting death. Zhao Hai flew into a rage. This kid was too arrogant and had no respect for anyone. Zhao Hai clearly knew that he was here. but he still dared to make a move on his junior brother. He simply didn't put him, or the Gui Yuan sect in his eyes. Kill. Zhao Hai also made his move. He had also cultivated a thunder-type magic, palm thunder. In an instant, the power of heaven and earth gathered in his palm. With a palm strike, a complicated formation appeared in the center of his palm. This was a palm force that was several times stronger than the treasure refining realm. A purple lightning bolt, as thick as a bucket, shot out and collided with it. Bang! The two forces of thunder immediately collided. It was like two thunder dragons fighting each other. Lightning shot out in all directions, and an earth-shattering explosion occurred. The shockwave swept in all directions, creating a crackling sound. Ah! On the other hand, Lu Long and the others let out miserable shrieks. They were already in a half-crippled state, and their bodies were practically unable to move. Now that they had encountered such a terrifying collision of energy, how could they possibly withstand the aftermath of such energy? These explosive lightning bolts fell one after another, bombarding the surroundings and affecting Lu Long and the others. Chapter 1377. Ah! You're courting death, courting death. Seeing his junior brothers killed one by one, Zhao Hai's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. As a true fire realm cultivator, he couldn't stop a mere treasure refining realm cultivator from killing his junior brothers. What a shame! He was extremely mad, his heart boiling with killing intent. He couldn't wait to skin Xiaoping alive. If I want to kill someone, you can't stop me. No one can stop me. Don't even think of running. Xiaoping's figure flickered. He didn't care about Zhao Hai's rage at all. Using his divine sense, he sensed that Lu Long had escaped from death, using his last breath to escape 10 miles away. Divine ability, Kuan Peng steps. Immediately, he stepped into the air like a Kuan Peng roaming in the void. A pair of transparent wings grew from his back, and the endless air was under his control. In an instant, he had escaped 10 miles away. In an instant, Xiaoping appeared in front of Lu Long. No, 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 spare me, spare my life. I won't dare anymore. Seeing Xiaoping appear in front of him, Lu Long was scared to the point of wetting his pants. He fell into despair. Just now, in order to survive, he used the blood ignition technique to barely use his strength to escape. But he didn't expect that this kid would be so cruel. He immediately chased after him, not giving him a chance to escape. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. If he knew that this guy was such a terrifying person, he wouldn't have dared to be greedy. But it was too late to say anything now. Stop. You dared to kill my Gui Yuan sect's disciple? Aren't you afraid that your entire clan will be exterminated? Zhao Hai shouted angrily. He rushed over with all his might, trying to stop Xiaoping from killing Lu Long. No matter what, he had to protect his junior brother's life. My entire clan will be exterminated? Your Gui Yuan sect is nothing. So what if I kill your Gui Yuan sect's disciple? Xiaoping sneered and slapped down with his palm, ruthless and merciless. Dong! Lu Long didn't even have time to scream. His head was smashed into meat paste like a watermelon. Even his magic power vibrated, turning his corpse into a bloody mist. I'll kill you. Seeing that Lu Long had been beheaded in front of him, Zhao immediately flew into a rage. His anger reached the extreme, and his killing intent boiled. He immediately took out a purple hammer. This was a mid-grade spirit artifact, the Thunder God Hammer. Dense lightning runes were engraved on it, and there seemed to be many complicated lightning formations that contained terrifying lightning energy. Boom! Zhao Hai smashed down with his hammer. Terrifying lightning energy erupted from his body. He looked like a thunder god as countless lightning bolts descended like missiles. In an instant, tens of thousands of lightning bolts covered a radius of 1,000 miles. No matter where Xiaoping hid, he would not be able to escape this blanket attack. You dare to be so arrogant with just these tricks? Xiaoping's expression was indifferent. Compared to the previous 36 lightning strikes, Zhao Hai's attack was nothing. After advancing to the middle stage of the treasure refining realm and awakening 100,000 golden crow hell cells, a cultivator at the early stage of the true fire realm was nothing to him. Star guiding art, falling stars. Zhao Hai immediately operated the star guiding art. The heavenly star formation in the depths of his body trembled as it communicated with the power of the stars. At this moment, the entire sky turned into a sea of stars. One after another, the stars formed from magic power revolved with a rumbling sound. Next, tens of thousands of stars fell down from the sky, bringing with them a terrifying might. How is this possible? He actually condensed a star body. Zhao Hai was shocked. Although he knew that this kid's strength was extraordinary, he didn't expect him to have condensed a star body. This was one of the strongest physiques in the universe. Once it was condensed, the stars would dance in the sky, and it would have boundless divine power. Zhao Hai was shocked. Dong! 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 The power of the stars and the power of the lightning collided, creating a huge sound. Shockwaves surged and swept in all directions. The two forces were evenly matched, and in an instant, they were annihilated. The ground was also blasted into a huge crater. The ground in a 1,000-mile radius was like the surface of the moon, with many potholes. It was a shocking scene. Damn! I don't believe that I can't kill a small treasure refining realm cultivator like you. Zhao Hai's expression was ferocious. He thought that as a true fire realm cultivator, killing a small treasure refining realm cultivator would be a piece of cake. However, he didn't expect that they were evenly matched. Moreover, the opponent seemed to be holding back. This made him even angrier and more humiliated. Thunder divine ability, Thunder God descends. Zhao Hai went crazy as he activated the power of his body. Terrifying magic power poured into the Thunder God hammer's formation. One after another, thunder formations intertwined in the air. A Thunder God's phantom condensed from thunder energy appeared in the formation. It seemed to be the master of thunder. It held a heavy hammer in its hand and countless thunder runes intertwined on its body. The moment it appeared, the weather of the world changed. Dark clouds covered the sky. Thunder energy was drawn out by the formation and gathered together. This was Zhao Hai's strongest attack. He used his strongest divine ability and all the power of the Thunder God hammer. He wanted to kill Xia Ping in one move. After all, if the battle continued, he didn't know how many tricks this star body monster had up his sleeves. He needed to go all out and kill this kid as soon as possible. I've already said that's all you've got. Go to hell. Xia Ping's eyes flashed with a cold light as he made his move. Bloodline divine ability, Infernal Golden Crow Claw. In order to kill this strong enemy, he immediately used one of his strongest offensive divine abilities. An infernal golden crow claw condensed from flames appeared in the air. The moment it appeared, the flames burned the world like a sun. The surrounding temperature immediately rose by several thousand degrees. Even steel would quickly melt under this temperature. Many fire runes and ancient formations appeared on the claw. They exuded a noble, chaotic, and ancient aura. It was like an ancient existence that existed since the creation of the world. Thunder God Hammer, destroy him for me. Feeling the terrifying power of the claw, Zhao Hai's hair stood up. The crisis of death was approaching. He immediately made his move as the Thunder God Hammer smashed down on Xia Ping. The hammer smashed down with hundreds of thousands of lightning bolts. Its power was terrifying. It was like a mountain that weighed hundreds of millions of tons. Even an ancient beast would be smashed into meat paste. Die! Zhao Hai's expression was fierce. The magic power in his body had reached its limit. This strike was the pinnacle of his life. It exceeded all the power he had displayed in the past. It was like a meteor that bloomed with its final radiance. Boom! However, the golden claw slowly reached out and grabbed the heavy hammer in an instant. It was as if it was grabbing a mountain, and all the force turned into nothingness under the claw. Chapter 1378. How is this possible? Zhao Hai couldn't help but scream. Even a true fire realm cultivator wouldn't dare to take this blow head-on. Otherwise, they would definitely be seriously injured. But with just one claw, this kid had caught his heavy hammer, as if it was as easy as catching a chick. Billions of tons of power instantly disappeared. He couldn't believe his eyes. His Thunder God hammer had been caught so easily. This wasn't human at all. Even the Gui Yuan sect hadn't seen such a monstrous disciple. He immediately wanted to retreat. Even his strongest blow couldn't kill this monstrous disciple. His next move would be useless against this kid. Die! Xiaoping was expressionless. His body emitted an extreme killing intent. The Hell Crow Claw extended. It looked slow, but it was extremely fast. It was like Mount Tai pouring down, unavoidable. The surrounding air was quickly pushed away, forming a whirlpool. The claw grabbed it, and a terrifying archaic formation appeared in the palm of his hand. It absorbed the power of heaven and earth, then exploded instantly. Run! Run quickly! If he didn't run, he would die. Zhao Hai's instinct for danger was so strong that his hair stood on end. Every cell in his body was trembling. This was the survival instinct of a true Fire Realm cultivator. If he dared to take this blow head-on, even if he was a true Fire Realm cultivator, he would die without a doubt. But even so, his body couldn't move. It was extremely stiff, as if he had been immobilized. This was because the moment the claw appeared, it instantly locked on to all of his chi activity. If that was all, it wouldn't have been so bad. He had various ways to avoid being locked onto by chi activity. The problem was that this claw was extremely terrifying. It was like the claw of an archaic mythical bird. It grabbed down from the void. The 5 fingers were bent, covering the sky and covering the earth. Countless airflows wrapped around his body, collapsing towards the center. This was like the airflow collapsing, or like the compression of a black hole. Countless forces were concave towards a singular point, so the power that this point was facing was extremely terrifying. Zhao Hai wanted to beg for mercy, hoping that Xiaoping would spare his worthless life. But the attack speed of the claw was too fast. It broke through the air, and before he could speak, the claw had already grabbed and slapped down from the sky. Boom! In the next second, his body was grabbed by the giant golden claw, and his entire body was crushed into pieces. The lightning energy in the surroundings was also shaken into balls of yuan qi and dissipated in the air. After the death of its master, the Thunder God hammer seemed to have been heavily damaged. It fell from midair and quickly smashed a shockingly deep pit. Lightning crackled and the surrounding soil was charred black by the electricity. Such power. Xiaoping was also taken aback by the power of the Golden Crow Hell Claw. The claw was indestructible. Thousands of thunderbolts instantly blasted into a ball of vitality. Even a true Fire Realm cultivator would not be able to withstand it. Furthermore, it contained extremely sharp power that could tear through everything. The defensive magic treasures and defensive divine abilities on the opponent's body were instantly pierced and torn to pieces. Even its claws contained the power of a divine beast. Once it grabbed an enemy, with a vicious squeeze, it would immediately explode, turning them into dregs. Not a bad baby. Xiaoping grabbed with his hand, and immediately kept all the treasures left behind by the Good Yuan sect disciples. Among them, the more precious magic treasures were undoubtedly the Dragon Scale Saber and the Thunder God Hammer. These 2 spirit weapons were very powerful. Even if they were not used by themselves, if they were sold, their value would be quite shocking. Apart from that, they also had a large number of Guiyuan sect's cultivation elixirs and all kinds of spiritual medicine. Lu Long and the rest probably did not expect that not only did they not kill him for his wealth, but they also kept their treasures and even their lives. Xiaoping, be careful. A powerful person from the Guiyuan sect is rushing over. We have to run. Suddenly, Corinne's voice sounded and immediately warned Xiaoping. It had been constantly activating the star scanning system. If any strong enemies appeared, it would be the first to be discovered. Okay. Xiaoping nodded his head. His battle with Lu Long and the rest had caused such a huge commotion. It was impossible for the other Guiyuan sect disciples to not notice it. Some of them had even asked for help from the sect elders. Now that reinforcements had arrived, it was actually too late. Of course, his divine sense was very strong. Naturally, he could feel several strong auras rushing over. They were definitely experts above the Golden Core realm. If he encountered them, it would definitely cause a lot of trouble. However, before he left, he had to leave a mark. Xiaoping, what are you doing? Corinne was stunned because he realized that before Xiaoping left, he had actually found a rock and used his qi to carve words on it. Nothing much, I'm just attracting hatred. Xia Ping said carelessly. I'm a little afraid that they won't be able to find their enemy, or that they might have found the wrong person. Therefore, I'm leaving these words as a commemoration. I am such a kind person. The corner of Corinne's mouth couldn't help but twitch. He took a closer look. On it was written, on a certain day Lu Long, Zhao Hai, and the other Guoyuan sect disciples attempted to murder for money, kill people and seize their treasures. They were utterly devoid of conscience. If such evildoers were to continue to live, they would definitely bring disaster to the common people. Therefore, Lu Long and the others were beheaded to get rid of evil for the common people. I hope that the elders of Guoyuan sect will take this as a warning and teach many disciples to do good deeds. Otherwise, they will suffer the wrath of heaven in the future. I hope that everyone will remember this. The envoy of justice, Master Mateto, hereby leaves these words. Do not read them. Attracting hatred. The Green Ox also saw this scene and was speechless. Originally, killing Lu Long and the other Guoyuan sect disciples had already sowed a great enmity with Guoyuan sect. However, this guy was still not satisfied. He actually left a message to remind them that he was the one who killed them. Wasn't this completely offending Guoyuan sect? If the elders of Guoyuan sect saw the words on this rock, they would definitely fly into a rage. They would want to immediately capture this arrogant guy, Xia Ping, and skin him alive. Otherwise, if the dignified Guoyuan sect was slapped in the face like this, what face would they have left? Xia Ping, it's better to leave quickly. I'm a little afraid that the other party's saint will jump out in anger and slap us to death. Corinne bared his teeth. He felt that staying with Xia Ping was getting more and more dangerous. It was simply courting death. The Green Ox also felt that he seemed to have found an unreliable master, the kind that harmed others and himself. He was afraid that he would not die quickly enough. All right, let's go. Xia Ping did not hesitate. After settling these matters, he immediately returned to the myriad stars. Boom! Immediately, the myriad stars shook and tore a wormhole. He jumped through space and left the planet in the next second. The space fluctuation was silent and did not even cause the planet's defense formation to react. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Chapter 1379. What's going on? Where are the people? Where did they go? Didn't they ask for help? Why isn't anyone here? A Guoyuan sect elder scanned the surroundings, but realized that there was no one around. This was normal. Lu Long and the others had long been burned to ashes by Xia Ping. Even if they wanted to find the bodies of Lu Long and the others, it would be impossible. They should all be dead. Another white-haired elder had a solemn expression. He received the disciples' distress signal and immediately came to rescue. Who would have thought that even so he was too late? All dead? How is that possible? This is our Guoyuan sect's territory. Zhao Hai is a true fire realm cultivator. Who could kill him so easily? An elder frowned. If I'm not wrong, that person's name is Master Mateto. An elder in a black robe said. What? How do you know? Could it be that your divination technique has already reached the acme of perfection, and you are able to calculate everything under the heavens? Many of the elders were shocked. No, there is a rock here. The murderer's name was left on it. The elder in a black robe was expressionless as he pointed to a rock in the distance. Many elders heard and immediately looked over. There was indeed a rock standing on the ground. There were many universe words engraved on it, and there was a faint flame aura left behind. Bastard, he killed our Guoyuan sect disciple, and actually dared to leave his name. He is simply audacious. Does he think that our Guoyuan sect's experts can't kill him? With a bang, an elder was half dead with anger. He smashed a rock that was half the height of a person beside him with one slap. A shocking crack appeared on the ground. Let's see what that bastard wrote on it. Killing my Guoyuan sect's disciple is equivalent to getting rid of a scourge for the people. He hopes that our Guoyuan sect will learn from this. What does this mean? Is he saying that our Guoyuan sect is a nest of monsters? A devil who likes to kill and set fires everywhere. An elder was very angry. He was so angry that his white beard curled up. What a bastard! Even if it is the fault of our Guoyuan sect's disciple, He should be handed over to our Gui Yuan sect's elder to judge, before he can be convicted. What does he mean by this? He even wants us to do good deeds, or else we will be punished by the heavens. Who does he think he is? An elder sneered as his heart was filled with anger. He had been an elder of the Gui Yuan sect for a long time, but this was the first time he had met such an arrogant disciple. Can't you see? They call themselves the emissaries of justice, and want to judge us devils. Bullshit messenger of justice. How dare he? This is the territory of our Gui Yuan sect. How dare he do such a thing in our territory? He must have a death wish. If we don't kill him, how can our Gui Yuan sect keep its face? There's something that I find very strange. A super defensive grand array has been set up on this planet. Even if a golden core realm cultivator wants to enter, it's impossible to not alarm the array formation. How exactly did that kid enter? Could it be that the murderer is a mighty cultivator in the Thunder Retribution realm? Impossible. There are no traces of fighting around. It's so intense. If he really is a mighty cultivator in the Thunder Retribution realm, he can kill Lu Long and the others with just a breath. How could he give them a chance to ask for help? The murderer is at most a cultivator in the True Fire realm. But if he is in the True Fire realm, how did he come in? I'm afraid he has a secret treasure that can pass through our defensive grand array silently. Investigate. Investigate immediately. Find out where did this Master Potato come from. He dared to enter the territory of our Gui Yuan sect to kill people. This is simply outrageous. A group of elders gritted their teeth. They were infuriated by the words that Xia Ping left behind. All of them swore that as long as they caught Master Potato, they would definitely not let this kid die so easily. Even dismembering his body would be considered a light punishment. A few hours later, the star universe was sailing in the boundless starry sky, flying towards Qingquan star. At this time, Xia Ping was staying in the room, meditating with his legs crossed, slowly digesting the thunder essence that he had absorbed this time. Because he had absorbed too much thunder essence this time. Even though his physique was strong, he still seemed to have a little indigestion. Lightning sparks appeared around his body from time to time. If a hand touched someone's body, the lightning that leaked out was enough to charred the person. At this time, the system's voice sounded. Congratulations to the host. You have gained a lot of hatred from the Red Scarf Thief and the Qingquan sect elder. This time, you have gained a total of 700 million hatred points. I hope you will continue to work hard. 700 million hatred points. Xia Ping touched his chin. Adding the previous hatred points, he had a total of 5 billion hatred points. Sure enough, leaving a message on the spot was the right thing to do. Otherwise, how could he get so much hatred points? He was not afraid of Gui Yuan sect finding trouble with him. After all, there were no witnesses around. The universe was vast. Even if Gui Yuan sect turned the sky upside down, it was impossible to find him. Host, according to the system detection, the host's body has absorbed too much thunder energy. It needs to be digested as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will definitely cause damage to the body. The system said. It is indeed a problem. System, do you have any way to solve it? Xia Ping asked. He was also aware of this problem. Although cultivating the lightning fist could help him absorb a portion of the lightning essence, he had gone through 36 lightning tribulations and absorbed too much lightning essence. Even the lightning fist could not help him. And this was not the most serious thing. If the next thunder tribulations came, the absorbed thunder energy would be even greater. At that time, even his body would not be able to bear it. He must find a way to solve it. The system has a cultivation technique called Chaos Thunder Technique. It requires 5 billion hatred points. It can help the host refine the thunder essence in the body. The system replied, Chaos Thunder Technique. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He immediately looked at the introduction of this cultivation technique. Sure enough, this cultivation technique had reached the saint level. It was known as the general outline of all thunder techniques in the world. If it was successfully cultivated, it could condense into Thunder Emperor body and control all thunder techniques. Good cultivation technique. Xia Ping suddenly became excited. If he mastered a thunder technique, not only could he solve the excessive thunder energy in his body, but it would also be easier to deal with thunder tribulations in the future. It could be said that this was a way to kill many birds with one stone. Although it required 1.5 billion hatred points, it was indeed valuable. Exchange. Thinking of this, Xia Ping immediately chose to exchange for this cultivation technique. Rumble. At this moment, a huge amount of information poured into Xia Ping's mind. Countless thunder talismans, runes, and arrays rushed into his mind. The amount of information contained was enough to explode the head of an ordinary person. However, for Xia Ping, who had been promoted to the middle stage of treasure refining realm, it was nothing. His huge divine sense was enough for him to easily accept this information. But even so, it took him 3 hours just to accept this information. Chaos Thunder Technique. Chapter 1380. Sizzle Sizzle. Xia Ping operated the Chaos Thunder art. A chaotic vortex formed in the depths of his dantian. It was like a black hole, producing an extremely strong devouring power. The thunder essence hidden in the depths of his body was attracted by this chaotic vortex. It rapidly gathered in the depths of his dantian and entered the center of the vortex. After an unknown period of time, when countless thunder essences gathered in the center, the chaotic vortex quickly condensed into a thunder talisman. It immediately emitted an ancient, tyrannical, and noble aura. It was as if with this thunder talisman in the center, he could control the power of thunder and lightning as he wished. Vaguely, there seemed to be a thunder god living in this thunder talisman. It held a long spear, had 3 heads and 6 arms, and its body was surrounded by countless thunder and lightning. Comfortable. Xia Ping felt his whole body comfortable. The moment this thunder talisman was condensed, countless thunder and lightning emitted from the talisman and flowed into his limbs and bones. It flowed along his meridians and blood vessels, making crackling sounds and faintly having a numbing effect. The originally incomparably violent and destructive thunder energy, after being purified and refined by the thunder talisman, became incomparably gentle and slowly tempered his body. Every time the thunder and lightning traveled 1 round in his body, he felt his body go numb. The crackling sounds were like the thunder of tigers and leopards. His physique was also strengthened a little, although the effect of each strengthening was not much. After accumulating for a long time, the degree of strengthening was still quite shocking. Moreover, the thunder energy also contained a vigorous vitality. It also activated the cells in his body, reaching an unprecedented state of health. His lifespan was also increased by hundreds of years. Transformation. When this thunder talisman absorbed the thunder essence to its limit, it instantly transformed. An ancient, chaotic, and noble thunder formation appeared in Xia Ping's body. At this moment, this formation covered his whole body. Thunder runes appeared on his skin, and there were faint sparks of lightning. The thunder energy in the depths of the void seemed to be attracted to him. Thunder Emperor Body. Xia Ping immediately discovered that when he successfully condensed this chaotic thunder formation, this formation integrated into his body. Immediately, there was a chemical reaction with his meridians and blood. It was as if the thunder runes were integrated into every cell in his body. At this moment, his whole body was elemental, as if he had turned into a body of thunder and lightning. His whole body was composed of thunder energy. How magical! Xia Ping felt as though he had transformed into lightning at this moment. His soul had fused with the lightning, and it was as though he had become the ruler of lightning. Every single move he made could draw in the lightning energy from the depths of the void. He could even faintly sense the tribulation lightning energy in the depths of the dimension, causing his heart to palpitate. It was as if any bit of tribulation lightning energy that leaked out could turn him into ashes. At this moment, in the depths of the Violet Kingdom, countless bolts of lightning could be seen. This caused the Violet Kingdom to be filled with vitality, as if it was about to transform into a real spatial world. Lightning Fist. In an instant, Xia Ping stood up from where he was and punched the air. A fist energy condensed from thunder energy blasted out. Lightning radiated in all directions, and countless thunder runes rotated in the depths of the fist energy like a whirlpool. Its power was several times more tyrannical than before. With a loud bang, it struck the wall of the cultivation room. Suddenly, an explosion occurred in the cultivation room. However, this was the cultivation room of a Saint-class flying ship. Who knew how sturdy the walls were? An attack of this level wouldn't be able to damage the walls at all. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it wasn't damaged at all. But with such a sturdy cultivation room, Xiaoping could use his mystic arts at will without worrying about damage. This was a pretty good cultivation room. Thunder Palm. Xiaoping grabbed out with his hands, and the thunder energy in the depths of the void was caught in his hands. He then smashed it out, turning it into a lightning bolt that was as thick as a water bucket. With a boom, this lightning bolt struck the ground, giving off a deafening sound. If this place was on land, just a single lightning bolt would be enough to shatter mountains and move rivers. Lightning Eye. Xiaoping stood where he was, and a profound thunder array immediately appeared in the depths of his eyes. He discovered that the entire world had undergone a tremendous change, and the countless strands of thunder energy in the air seemed to be attracted, quickly converging in the depths of his eyes and merging into this thunder array. When the thunder energy had gathered to a certain extent, he immediately released it with a thought. Immediately 2 bolts of thunder energy shot out like lasers, extremely fast. With a boom, the 2 bolts of thunder energy bombarded the wall, producing a considerable amount of destructive power. Thunder God's legs. Xiaoping's legs immediately elementalized and turned into thunder. With a thought, his body flickered, and immediately, countless figures of Xiaoping appeared in the cultivation room. This was a speed that the naked eye couldn't see clearly. One could only see that there were bolts of lightning winding in the space. This was a terrifying speed that wasn't inferior to the Kunpeng steps. So that's how it is. No wonder this chaos thunder art is known as the general outline of all thunder arts. So that's how it is. It has reached the realm of transforming one law into 10,000 laws. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. This chaos thunder art was a cultivation method of the same level as the star guide incantation. It had the power of transforming one law into 10,000 laws. After learning this cultivation method, if the time was right and he had enlightenment, he would be able to develop various mystic arts related to thunder. Moreover, he had also condensed the Thunder Emperor body. In the future, it would be even easier for him to devour the endless thunder essence in the world. He wouldn't have to worry about absorbing too much thunder essence and dying. Another day passed, and Xiaoping finally consolidated the Thunder Emperor body. His magic power also increased a lot. It seemed that it wouldn't take long for him to reach the peak of the middle stage of the treasure refining realm. Of course, the Chaos Thunder art was too broad and profound. Every time he comprehended it, he would have a new understanding. This also made his martial arts realm progress at lightning speed. Xiaoping has returned to Universe Star. At this moment, Corinne's voice came. Finally back? Xiaoping stretched his waist. By the way, Corinne, is it really okay to drive myriad stars back to Universe Star? Won't people discover that this is a saint-level spaceship? Don't worry, this spaceship has the ability to hide its aura. As long as no one attacks this spaceship, even a sage won't be able to see through it. Corinne was full of confidence. Back then, the old master had paid a great price to build this spaceship with the goal of contending against a sage. Its concealment ability was also top-notch. Even if a sage didn't personally investigate it, he wouldn't be able to see through it. That's good. Xiaoping nodded. Chapter 1381. Qingquan Star. Xiaoping's group alighted from the ship. So this is Qingquan Star, the core of the 6 major starfields, the Qingquan Sect's mountain gate. Jiang Yaru walked on Qingquan Star, and immediately felt the greatness of this planet. It seemed to contain boundless power, and at the same time, it was full of vitality, as if a great ancient being was breathing. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth here is shockingly dense, more than 100 times that of the cloud world. If we cultivate here, we will definitely improve at a godly speed. Chu Rong was also amazed. She had been traveling with Xiaoping for the past few days, and had stopped at many planets along the way. But she had never seen a planet as dense with spiritual energy as Qingquan star. Even among the billions of planets, Qingquan star was rather special. There are quite a lot of races here. Not only humans, but there are also demons and many other special races. Suji was also amazed. She saw people coming and going in this place, and there were countless races coming and going. This was an eye-opener for her. To be honest, there were quite a lot of races in the cloud world, but compared to the races here, they were pitifully few. Moreover, these races in the universe all had very powerful auras, at least above the Purple Mansion realm. The so-called king of the cloud realm was just a commoner in this place. Joining the Qingquan sect was the right choice. I will definitely find a way to become stronger in this place. Yuchichi clenched her fists, her beautiful eyes shining with anticipation. Big brother, where are we going next? Feng Hatong looked at Xiaoping. Xiaoping thought for a moment. Let's go find the sect's elders. I will ask them if they can let you join the Qingquan sect. Jiang Yaru and the others nodded. They were unfamiliar with this place, so they could only rely on Xiaoping. Whoosh! Under Xiaoping's lead, the group walked towards the Qingquan sect's elders' courtyard. However, before they could reach the elders' courtyard, they came to a road and suddenly saw a large group of people being carried out. All of them had broken arms and legs, and some of them were wrapped up like dumplings. All of them were heavily injured. They were all wailing in pain, clearly very miserable. Big brother, why are there so many disabled people in the Qingquan sect? Does it accept just anyone? Feng Hatong asked curiously. Damn fatty, who are you calling a cripple? Are you asking for a beating? Hearing those words, many people glared at Feng Hatong, revealing expressions of anger. What's wrong? Do you want to spar with me? I'll fight you with one hand. Feng Hatong gave him a sidelong glance, and directly went up to provoke him, asking for a duel. His favorite thing to do was to bully the weak and bully others. Damn it, this damn fatty. The group of people were angered half to death. This damned fatty must have seen that they were seriously injured, and couldn't use even a fraction of their strength. So he openly provoked them. This was clearly bullying them, hitting them when they were down. If it was any other ordinary time, and a tiny Violet Palace realm cultivator dared to provoke them, they would surely beat the shit out of that fellow. How could they tolerate that fellow's arrogance? However, there was nothing he could do now. No matter how angry he was, he couldn't unleash any combat power. What's going on? Why are there so many wounded? Xiaoping asked. Senior Xiaoping. Many people immediately noticed Xiaoping. Clearly they recognized him. After all, Xiaoping was the disciple of the Dark North Saint. His news had already spread throughout the entire Qingquan sect. It could be said that there weren't many who didn't know who Xiaoping was. This is great. Senior Xia is finally back. The group of people cheered. When they saw Xiaoping, all of them were incomparably excited, and had forgotten about Feng Hatong's infuriating words. So what if he is back? What's the big deal? Xiaoping felt strange. He didn't think that he had such a great reputation in the sect, and received the love and respect from so many disciples. Senior Xia, you don't know? Recently, the Lingyun sect's disciples came to our Qingquan sect for an exchange. Someone immediately said. Xiaoping said. So be it. It is a good thing, and can improve each other. It is very beneficial. If they want to exchange, then it is naturally a good thing. The problem is that those bastards from the Lingyun sect came with ill intentions. That's right. That group of bastards came with the excuse of an exchange. But they actually wanted to humiliate our Qingquan sect's disciples. That's right. Senior Xia, you don't know this. Previously, the Lingyun sect only sent one disciple, and all of us were beaten to the ground. All of us were injured and coughing blood non-stop. Moreover, they were very heavy-handed. Although they didn't kill us, they heavily injured us. Our bones were broken and our lungs were injured. It would be hard for us to recover without 3 months. The group of disciples gritted their teeth in anger. If it was an ordinary exchange, it would naturally be a good thing. However, it was obvious that the people from the Lingyun sect didn't think so. They came here to show off their strength. Could it be that no one is a match for those Lingyun sect disciples? Xiaoping didn't believe it. How strong was the Qingkuan sect? They even had Golden Core Realm disciples. No matter how strong those Ling Yun sect disciples were, they couldn't do as they pleased in this place. No, the exchange this time is limited to new disciples who have entered the sect for less than 10 years. Senior brothers who have entered the sect for more than 10 years can't participate. So many senior brothers can only watch helplessly. Someone said helplessly. According to these people, that Ling Yun sect disciple was very strong. Although he had only entered the sect for 3 years, he had already reached the peak of God realm. Ordinary Qingkuan sect disciples weren't a match for him at all. And it just so happened that at this time, the top 10 geniuses of Qingkuan sect, LV Wenhou and the others were also in seclusion, planning to break through their current martial realm. So they couldn't participate for the time being. Therefore, that Ling Yun sect disciple was arrogant. He could be said to have found a loophole. However, even so, they had to admit that the strength of that Ling Yun sect disciple was indeed terrifying. He had already reached the minor invincible realm. Even if the top 10 new disciples returned, there wouldn't be many who could defeat him. Senior brother Xia, that Ling Yun sect disciple is extremely arrogant. He said that there's no one in our Qingkuan sect. That's right. You didn't see the arrogance of that group of Ling Yun sect disciples. Their noses are almost flying up to the sky. I really can't endure such humiliation. I really want someone to beat that bastard up and teach him a lesson. The group of people gritted their teeth. When they thought of how they were humiliated by that Ling Yun sect disciple, they were filled with hatred. They wanted nothing more than to beat that person up into a pig's head to take revenge. Interesting. Bring me over to take a look. I want to see what abilities that group of Ling Yun sect disciples have. Xiaoping touched his chin and immediately said to the group of Qingkuan sect disciples. He felt that this was a good opportunity. Who knows? He might be able to gain a lot of hatred from this group of Ling Yun sect disciples. Moreover, he also wanted to see the martial Tao mystic arts of other sects' disciples. The group of disciples was instantly overjoyed. They knew how terrifying Xiaoping was. He was the disciple of Dark North Saint, and could single-handedly defeat the top 10 new disciples a year ago. Chapter 1382. Many people were gathered at a square in Heaven and Earth sect. Over 10 young men in white stood at the center of the square, with arrogance on their faces. They stood with their hands behind their backs, giving off an invincible aura. They looked down on everyone present. At this moment, dozens of Heaven and Earth sect disciples were lying on the ground. All of them were groaning in pain and coughing out blood. Their faces were filled with shame and anger. The other Heaven and Earth sect disciples were furious too. A white-robed young man with a sword on his back said in disdain, "These are Heaven and Earth sect disciples? This is a sect that is on the same level as our Ling Yun sect? How disappointing. I didn't expect them to be so weak. None of them can fight at all. I think all of you should just leave Heaven and Earth sect in case you tarnish our reputation and embarrass us." Hearing this, the group of Heaven and Earth sect disciples were furious. Jian Qingbai, don't be too arrogant. If it wasn't for the fact that the true geniuses of our Heaven and Earth sect aren't here, how could it be your turn to be arrogant and show off here? That's right, all of you just defeated us outer sect disciples. What is there to be proud of? If Lu Wenhou and the others were here, all of you would be useless. Many Heaven and Earth sect disciples gritted their teeth. So what if they are Lu Wenhou? If they have the ability, then call them out. Let's see what they can do to me. A cold smile appeared on Jian Qingbai's lips. So that's all you've got? You can see the whole picture just by looking at a spot. It's obvious that those so-called genius disciples aren't even worth mentioning. Right, don't you have a saint disciple? His name is Xiaoping, and he should be the strongest new disciple in Heaven and Earth sect. Why isn't he coming out? Is he afraid of losing to me so he is a coward? I think that Xiaoping doesn't live up to his reputation. He swept a glance at the people around him, and the disdain on his face was even more obvious, and he did not conceal it at all. You. The group of Heaven and Earth sect disciples stared at Jian Qingbai in rage. Jian Qingbai, you are too arrogant. I will fight you. Just at this moment, a young disciple who was too 3 meters tall, stood out. The area around him shook, and he gave off a peak god realm aura. Quite a few Qianquan sect disciples recognized him. This was Gattuso, who was ranked 20th in the freshman ranking competition. This time, he received the news and hurried over, wanting to help his senior and junior brothers vent their anger. "Do you think you're qualified to fight me?" Scram! In an instant, Jian Qingbai made his move. He drew his long sword and slashed at him. Sword Dao Divine Ability, Tiangang Waterfall Sword. What? Gattuso was greatly shocked. He could sense how terrifying this sword attack was. Even though his opponent had only slashed out with a single sword attack, he had slashed out tens of thousands of sword qi, which fell down like a waterfall. This sword contained the power of 10,000 caddies, and each streak of sword qi weighed billions of tons. Moreover, there were tens of thousands of such streaks of sword qi, so one could imagine how terrifying this sword was. It was extraordinary. Although Jian Qingbai was very arrogant, his reputation was not undeserved. Otherwise, he wouldn't have defeated so many Qianquan sect disciples. Ah! Gattuso let out a miserable cry. He wanted to block with all his might, but it was useless. The waterfall-like sword technique instantly sent him flying. With a bang, his entire body slid along the ground for a total of 2 to 3 kilometers, before slamming into a building in the distance. He coughed out blood on the spot, and his lungs were heavily injured. Many Qianquan sect disciples were shocked. Gattuso could be considered a genius. After all, he was able to be ranked top 20 among the freshman disciples. Such talent was unquestionable. However, he still couldn't block a single sword attack from Jian Qingbai, and was heavily injured on the spot. They were unwilling to accept such a reality. As expected of the Qianquan sect disciples, they only know how to boast, but they don't have much ability. They can't even block a single sword attack from me. What else is there to say? After defeating Gattuso with a single sword attack, Jian Qingbai became even more arrogant. His nostrils were already in the air, and his gaze towards the Qianquan sect disciples was even more disdainful. However, the Qianquan sect disciples only dared to be angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. After all, their skills were inferior. What else was there to say? Damn it, this Jian Qingbai is too arrogant. Is there no one who can punish him? How? LV Wenho and the other genius disciples are all in closed-door cultivation, for the sake of participating in the fiendish demon battlefield. They plan to break through to the treasure refinement realm. They won't be able to come out in a short period of time. Senior brother Xia seems to have gone far away, and is no longer in Qianquan Star. No one can contact him. I feel that even if senior brother Xia really makes a move, he might not be able to defeat this Jian Qingbai. What kind of joke is this? You are boosting the morale of others and diminishing your own. No. I have my reasons for this. Although senior brother Xia has demonic talent, and became the disciple of the Dark North Saint, he has only joined the Qianquan sect for a year and a half. Previously, he was still a Purple Mansion realm cultivator. No matter how demonic his talent is, he can't make much progress in such a short period of time. How can he be a match for Jian Qingbai, who is at the peak of the divine power realm? Indeed, the cultivation time is too short, and his martial realm can't keep up. I reckon that senior brother Xia is at most at the peak of the fulfillment realm. He might not even have reached the divine power realm. I reckon that this group of bastards from Lingyan sect saw this, and wanted to challenge senior brother Xia when he is weak. If he wins, they will say that they defeated the disciple of the saint. They are planning to use senior brother Xia as a stepping stone. This group of disciples from Lingyan sect is really despicable and sinister. It seems that we can only endure the humiliation this time. Many disciples from Qianquan sect clenched their fists. They were very unwilling, but no one was a match for these disciples from Lingyan sect. They were helpless. Moreover, so what if they defeated Jian Qingbai? There were still more than 10 people behind him, and their auras were not much weaker than Jian Qingbai's. Some were even stronger. It seems that no one is a match for me. This trip to Qianquan sect is really disappointing. From now on, you will all be called the sick men of Qianquan sect. This nickname suits you very well. Jian Qingbai smiled. Not bad, not bad. This nickname is not bad. You can't even take one sword from junior brother Jian. If you aren't sick men, then what are you? Qingkuan sect, you really don't deserve your reputation. The dozen disciples from Ling Yun's sect behind him all laughed loudly, and were very proud. Damn it! The group of Qingkuan sect disciples could not suppress the anger in their hearts. They wanted to rush up and beat this group of people up. Let's go. Jian Qingbai waved his hand and wanted to leave. Wait, why are you in such a hurry to leave? Don't you want to see me? Suddenly a voice rang out. Senior brother Xia. Many Qingkuan sect disciples looked over, and were all overjoyed. They recognized that the person who came was Xia Ping. As for the people behind Xia Ping, they were all ignored. The disciple of the saint Xia Ping, Jian Qingbai, and the others who wanted to leave immediately stopped. Their eyes shone brightly as they stared at the person in front of them. This was because Xia Ping was an extremely famous young disciple recently. He was studied by all the sections. Chapter 1383. This is the saint's disciple Xia Ping? The eyes of a dozen Lingyun sect disciples flickered as they sized up Xia Ping. They seemed to want to find out what secrets he had, and why the saint would take a liking to him. However, Xia Ping's aura was concealed, and he was like a rock. No matter how they looked, they couldn't find him. So you're Xia Ping? You don't look like much. I wonder if you're just a facade. Seeing Xia Ping appear, Jian Qingbai was still arrogant and proud. He had absolute confidence in himself. Even if the other party was the legendary saint's disciple, he wasn't afraid. Do you want to try? I'll fight you with one hand. Xia Ping put on a carefree expression, and had the bearing of a master. How arrogant. I'd like to see how you'll defeat me with one hand. Jian Qingbai was furious. Killing intent flashed in his eyes as he wielded his long sword and attacked. Sword art Tiangang waterfall sword. Rumble. Wave after wave of sword energy fell from the sky like a waterfall, emitting an aura that was several times stronger than before. Each wave contained earth-shattering power. This kid didn't use his full strength just now. Everyone was shocked, especially Gattuso. His face was ashen. If Jian Qingbai had used his full strength just now, he probably would have been turned to dust. The power of such a sword art was truly terrifying. It wasn't something an ordinary person could block. Just one wave of sword energy was enough to tear apart an ordinary divine realm cultivator's body. This is the power of a divine realm cultivator in the universe. Jiang Yaru and the others narrowed their eyes. They'd seen the power of the invincible kings in the cloud realm, but they couldn't compare to Jian Qingbai at all. Whether it was the density of magic power or the power of martial arts, the difference was like heaven and earth. If Jian Qingbai appeared in the cloud realm, he would probably sweep through a group of invincible kings. Not bad. Xia Ping's expression was very calm. For a cultivator in the middle stage of the treasure refinement realm like him, the martial arts of the divine realm were child's play. He didn't move at all. He flicked his finger lightly, and a terrifying gust of wind shot out. The runes in the sky intertwined and formed a heaven and earth formation. Bang! With just one strike, the sword qi that filled the sky was instantly shaken into a ball of yuan qi and turned into nothingness. The powerful force was transmitted to Jian Qingbai's body, sending him flying. His blood surged and he almost vomited blood. He slid across the ground for several hundred meters, creating a deep crack in the ground. There was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Jian Qingbai was extremely shocked right now. He could feel that Xia Ping's finger contained the endless power of the world. When the finger blasted over, it was unstoppable. The sword technique he was so proud of could not even withstand a single blow. This made his mind go blank. Didn't they say that this kid was only at the Purple Mansion realm 1.5 years ago? But what was going on? Why was his strength so terrifying? Is this the famous sword technique of the Lingyun sect, the Tiangang waterfall sword? It is indeed very powerful. Thousands of sword qi gather and form the power of a waterfall. Ordinary people would be blasted to death, unable to block it. You must have spent a lot of effort to learn this sword technique. Xia Ping nodded and praised. He commented on Jian Qingbai, as expected of the genius disciple of the Lingyun sect. You really live up to your reputation. It won't be difficult for you to become a golden core cultivator in the future. The group of Qiankuan sect disciples were speechless. Although Xiaoping's words were all praises, and didn't mean to belittle Jian Qingbai, they still felt very uncomfortable no matter how they listened. After all, if the heavenly astral waterfall sword was really that powerful, how could it be destroyed with just a flick of his finger? It was as if he didn't even need to lift a finger. If that was the case, coupled with the fact that such a thing had happened, no matter how one listened to it, there was a hint of ridicule in it. And he even commented on Jian Qingbai, saying that he lived up to his reputation, and that he would become a golden core cultivator in the future. Was this something someone of the same generation could say? It was clearly a senior teaching a junior. He was giving pointers from a higher position. He was basically saying that Jian Qingbai and he were not on the same level anymore. He was not fighting with him, but giving pointers. As the prodigy of the Lingyun sect, how could Jian Qingbai not hear Xiaoping's sarcastic words? And how proud was he? How could he endure Xiaoping's mockery? What does it have to do with you whether I become a golden core cultivator or not? You want to give me pointers? Who do you think you are? Jian Qingbai was going crazy. He couldn't restrain his anger. He immediately released an aura that was many times more terrifying than before. Retreat, retreat immediately. Junior brother Jian is going all out. A Lingyun sect disciple's expression changed drastically. He immediately said to his senior and junior brothers. Immediately, the group of people quickly retreated more than 10 kilometers to avoid being affected by the sword. The other Qiankuan sect disciples also felt the danger. They all retreated without stopping, afraid that the sword would hurt them. At that time, even if they didn't die, they would be heavily injured. I'd like to see how you're going to give me pointers. If you have the guts, come and give me pointers. Jian Qingbai gritted his teeth. All the mana in his body surged into the sword in his hand. Sword divine ability, collapsing mountain sword. The sword slashed over. It contained extremely sharp power. Endless sword chi gathered at one point. It seemed to be able to cut through space. This sword had the power to collapse mountains and crack the earth. Many Qiankuan sect disciples were shocked. They could feel the terrifying power of this sword. Compared to the previous sword, it was many times more powerful. It was also indestructible. All the sword chi in the world gathered at one point. It was almost an invincible sword in the god power realm. If it was a regular god power realm cultivator, just the ripples of the sword chi would probably turn them into dust. Noisy. Xiaoping didn't even look and slapped over. Martial divine ability, great yin-yang tablet smashing hand. In the air, a huge hand formed from yin and yang chi crushed down. It instantly grabbed the shocking sword chi and was completely obliterated in a breath's time. Oh no! Jian Qingbai was scared out of his wits. He wanted to run, but it was useless. The hand came crashing down from the sky. Not only did it easily shatter his boundless sword chi, but it even grabbed his body in an instant. Dong! In the next second, his entire body was slammed into the ground. In an instant, a 5-finger-deep pit with a diameter of 10 kilometers appeared on the ground. There were even clear palm prints on the ground, as if they were imprints of an array formation, filled with a terrifying aura. Jian Qingbai lay on the ground, coughing up large mouthfuls of blood. His bones were broken, and he was already half dead. His eyes were filled with extreme fear. Junior brother Jian. Chapter 1384. Xiaoping, you're too much. One of the Lingyun sect's disciples glared at Xiaoping furiously. You actually attacked junior martial brother Jian so heavily. Is this how your Qiankuan sect treats your guests? Xiaoping said. Sorry, I really didn't do it on purpose. I only patted him lightly just now and didn't expect him to almost die. Actually, I told you before not to compete with me. Sometimes, I don't know how to control my strength and he might die. But he didn't listen, so what could I do? He revealed an innocent expression. The group of Lingyun sect disciples gritted their teeth. They wanted to punch that innocent face and step on it a few times. Let's see if this kid still dared to act dumb here. An expert with such strength should have reached the acme of perfection in his control of strength. How could he not control his own strength? He even said that he didn't know how to control his strength. That was bullshit. This bastard clearly did it on purpose. He wanted to take revenge on junior brother Jian, which was why he attacked so heavily. This bastard wanted to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. He wanted to take revenge. The problem was that when they fought with the Heaven and Earth sect disciples, they also said the same thing. They even said that if they were weaker, they shouldn't fight. Who would have thought that the tables would turn? What you? Don't tell me Lingyun's sect is a sore loser? This is an exchange between cultivators. Isn't it normal to not know how to control your strength? That's right. If you don't have this awareness, what's the point of competing? Go home and drink. Also, Jian Qingbai didn't die. Why are you still talking here? That's right. Which cultivator hasn't been heavily injured before? What is this? Don't tell me that your Lingyun sect only has this little bit of magnanimity. Many Heaven and Earth sect disciples mocked them. They finally found a chance to hit them when they were down. Seeing Jian Qingbai half-crippled, they felt that Xia Ping helped them vent their anger. Previously, these Lingyun sect disciples were so arrogant. It was fine if they won, but they purposely beat up so many disciples, and even mocked them as sick men of Heaven and Earth sect. How could they tolerate that? Now that they saw these Lingyun sect disciples suffer, they felt extremely good. It was like eating ice cream during the hottest days of summer. Damn it! The group of Lingyun sect disciples were angered half to death, their faces flushed red, wishing to fight it out with this group of Qiankuan sect disciples. You're not convinced? Xia Ping said with a smile. Why don't you send a few more people to fight with me? Actually, it doesn't matter if you all come at me together. I can handle it. What? Hearing this, the group of disciples from the Lingyun sect flew into a rage. Provocation? This was clearly a provocation. What was this bastard talking about? He wanted them to attack together. And he even said that he could deal with more than 10 of them. Just how much did this guy look down on them? Did he think that he could defeat more than 10 disciples of the Lingyun sect by himself? They felt like their chests were about to explode. They had never been so angry in their lives. Just as the group of Lingyun sect disciples were about to lose control of their urge to attack Xia Ping, a voice rang out. Stop! You are no match for that person. Whoosh! Just as the voice rang out, a figure flew over from the sky. It was a young man dressed in black, riding on a ferocious beast. With a thump, this ferocious beast landed on the ground, stirring up a violent wind. It was like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves, causing dust to fly everywhere. The surrounding Qiankuan sect disciples all retreated. This ferocious beast was extremely terrifying, emitting a ferocious aura from head to toe. Its body was 5 to 6 meters long, and it had a strong physique like a leopard. Its entire body was covered with needle-like fur, revealing 2 malevolent fangs at the corner of its mouth, and there was a horn on its head. Its entire body emitted a scarlet glow, and there were flowing scarlet runes on its body. Without a doubt, this was an ancient ferocious beast. Although it hadn't matured yet, its body emitted a tyrannical aura that was almost tangible, like flowing water. My God, this is a single-horned lava leopard. Everyone was astonished. They immediately recognized the origin of this ferocious beast. It was the famous single-horned lava leopard, possessing the bloodline of an ancient ferocious beast. It was incomparably ferocious, and its personality was cruel. It was almost impossible to tame. In ancient times, the single-horned lava leopard once wreaked havoc in a star field. Everywhere it went, it turned into a sea of fire, devoured tens of thousands of planets and killed billions of lives. Although this single-horned lava leopard hadn't matured yet, the power it contained was extremely terrifying. At the very least, it was at the treasure refining realm. To actually be able to tame a single-horned lava leopard, this person is not simple. Someone stared in shock at this black-robed man, riding on the single-horned lava leopard. Such an ancient ferocious beast was untamed, and taming it was extremely difficult. But once it was tamed, it would be of endless help. Putting aside the strength of its master, just this ancient ferocious beast alone could sweep away a large number of Qiankuan sect disciples. The single-horned lava leopard's 4 hooves stomped on the ground. It was 2 to 3 meters tall, like a small mountain, Its eyes revealed a ferocious glint that intersected with the runes in the air, emitting boundless baleful energy. If an ordinary person stood in front of this ancient ferocious beast, they would tremble in fear and lose 70% of their courage. Senior brother Bian Haifan. Many Lingyun sect disciples looked at the black-robed man excitedly. This person was also a disciple of Lingyun sect, and he was even stronger than them. He had already entered Lingyun sect for 10 years, and his cultivation had reached the peak of the treasure-refining realm. They believed that if this senior brother acted, it would be enough to sweep away all the Qingquan sect disciples here. Don't you think you're a little too much? Bian Haifan ignored the Lingyun sect disciples. He looked down at Xia Ping and said, "You've clearly advanced to the treasure-refining realm, but you're still bullying a junior in the divine ability realm." What? Not only the Lingyun sect disciples, but even the Qingquan sect disciples were shocked. Although they had some guesses in their hearts, they didn't expect Xia Ping to actually advance to the treasure-refining realm. Especially the Qingquan sect disciples. They knew that Xia Ping was only a Purple Mansion realm cultivator 1.5 years ago, but now he actually advanced to the treasure-refining realm. His cultivation speed was simply terrifying. It can't be right? Senior brother Xia actually advanced to the treasure-refining realm. Is this real? I remember that 1.5 years ago, senior brother Xia was only at the Purple Mansion realm. Now he's already a treasure-refining realm cultivator. Is his cultivation speed like driving a flying ship? No wonder senior brother Xia easily defeated Jian Qingbai. Isn't defeating a junior in the divine ability realm a piece of cake for a treasure-refining realm cultivator? How exactly did he cultivate? I've been stuck at the fulfillment realm for 5 or 6 years, and I still haven't broken through. This is nothing. I've been stuck at the divine ability realm for 20 years, and I still haven't improved. I can only say that he's indeed a disciple of a saint. Just his cultivation speed is already extraordinary. Chapter 1385. The Lingyun sect disciples were astonished as well. They knew that Xia Ping was only at the Purple Mansion realm a year ago. Now he was at the treasure refinement realm. Even if he was a disciple of a saint, this speed of improvement was too exaggerated. Even taking pills wouldn't be this fast. Jian Qingbai's expression was terrible. He finally knew why he lost so badly. He was a god power realm cultivator, but he had to fight a treasure refinement realm cultivator. Wasn't this courting death? Bullying a junior? Xia Ping heard this and instantly laughed. I just joined the Heaven and Earth sect. In terms of seniority, I'm just an inner disciple. How is this bullying? But if you're not convinced and want to stand up for Jian Qingbai, you can find me for a spar. I'll fight you to the end. He looked indifferently at the black-clothed man Bian Haifan. Spar? You're too arrogant. Bian Haifan's tone was calm and condescending. You're only at the intermediate stage of the treasure refining realm, while I've long been a cultivator at the pinnacle of the treasure refining realm, half a step into the true fire realm. Do I even need to do anything to a junior like you? Just my mount is enough to flatten you. He didn't plan to fight himself. He just wanted to use his mount to deal with Xia Ping. What? The Heaven and Earth sect disciples were all furious. This was really looking down on them. There was a hint of humiliation. If they were really defeated by him, it would be a humiliation that they would never be able to wash away. They would also be mocked by the outside world. If they couldn't even defeat the opponent's mount, then what strength did they have? Some people felt that Bian Haifan was extremely despicable. In terms of strength, as an ancient beast, the single-horned lava leopard was definitely not weaker than Bian Haifan himself. Because of the bloodline of the single-horned lava leopard, its strength, speed, and defense were far superior to humans. It was also extremely ferocious and didn't fear death. In a real battle, this ancient beast could almost sweep away all opponents of the same level. From a certain perspective, fighting with the single-horned lava leopard was even more dangerous than fighting with humans. After all, the single-horned lava leopard was an ancient beast. If it went berserk, it could kill people at any moment. It was different from fighting with humans. Humans would more or less show mercy, but beasts wouldn't. It was a battle of life and death. Really? If it can really flatten me, I'd like to try. Xiaoping smiled at Bian Haifan. And then let's give it a try. Bian Haifan patted the back of the single-horned lava leopard and said casually, "Leopard, stomp him to death." Roar. The unicorn lava leopard roared and charged towards Xiaoping. Instantly, the ground shook, and everything within tens of kilometers trembled. It was as if there was a magnitude 7 or 8 earthquake. The primordial beast's entire body emitted a red light, and its entire body emitted a ball of flames. Its 4 hooves stomped on the ground, instantly turning the ground into a sea of molten lava. It was ferocious to the extreme, and its endless fiendish aura spread out for dozens of miles. Everyone who felt this aura felt as if there was a blade on their backs, as if they were being stared at by the god of death. Too violent. The surrounding heaven and earth sect disciples were all astonished. They could feel the ferocity of the single-horned lava leopard. Its body was incomparably tough, not inferior to a magic treasure. When it charged over, it felt like a mountain crushing down on them. If an ordinary cultivator were to encounter such a collision, they would instantly be smashed into a pile of minced meat. Moreover, this primordial beast's speed was extremely fast. In an instant, it leaped several hundred meters and appeared in front of Xiaoping. Its 4 hooves descended from the sky, wanting to trample Xiaoping to death. Xiaoping rushed over and punched out. Boom! A man and a ferocious beast crashed into each other, producing a deafening sound like a huge explosion. But what surprised everyone was that the single-horned lava leopard, who originally thought that Xiaoping would be smashed into meat paste, was actually sent flying. It let out a mournful howl and coughed out blood in midair. And Bian Haifan, who originally thought that he could borrow the strength of the single-horned lava leopard to deal with Xiaoping, was actually sent flying. In an instant, he flew several hundred meters away. The tyrannical fist force seeped into his 5 viscera and 6 bowels, causing Bian Haifan's blood to boil. He almost coughed out blood, and even rolled a few times on the ground, looking incomparably miserable. Impossible! Bian Haifan was stunned. He simply couldn't believe his eyes. His single-horned lava leopard was a primordial beast with unparalleled strength, comparable to divine beasts. How could an ordinary human compete with such a primordial beast in terms of strength? Wasn't this a joke? But what did he see now? In a competition of strength, the single-horned lava leopard actually lost. Even its body wasn't a match for Xiaoping. It was sent flying and coughed out blood in midair. My God! What kind of body structure does senior brother Xia have? He's completely fine after clashing with the single-horned lava leopard. Instead, the single-horned lava leopard was heavily injured. Some Qingquan sect disciples were dumbfounded. I heard that senior brother Xia has cultivated a type of treasure physique, causing his physique to be incomparably tyrannical, even more terrifying than the offspring of divine beasts. Back then, LV Wenho condensed the ghost god physique. By right, he should be invincible, but he was still defeated by senior brother Xia. My God, ghost god physique? Isn't that one of the strongest physiques in the universe? It was actually defeated by senior brother Xia? Naturally, this primordial beast must have eaten a bear's heart and leopard's gall to want to compete with senior brother Xia in terms of strength. It's simply courting death. Many Qingquan sect disciples discussed. At this moment, Xiaoping didn't care about Bian Haifan, who was sent flying. He charged towards the single-horned lava leopard. Boom! He punched out again, ruthlessly smashing into the body of the single-horned lava leopard. Instantly, the bones in its body broke and its skin ruptured. It coughed out large amounts of blood. Roar! The single-horned lava leopard was infuriated. At the same time, it felt endless fear in its heart. It felt as though death was about to befall it. This injury had completely stimulated the ferocity in its body. Rumble in the next second, a ball of terrifying flames erupted from its body. Its horn glowed, and a heaven and earth grand formation appeared under its 4 hooves. Runes were densely covered the formation, as though they were intertwining with stars. In an instant, a radius of 10 miles was transformed into a sea of lava. Flames filled the sky, and the temperature was incomparably high. It was as though it wanted to incinerate everything in the world. It's over. The single-horned lava leopard is enraged. A group of Qingkuan sect disciples were alarmed. They could feel waves of destructive energy emitting from the single-horned lava leopard's body. A terrifying flame energy was brewing. If it erupted, it would be able to raise the buildings within a radius of a few hundred miles. The single-horned lava leopard roared towards the sky. A ball of flames shot out from its mouth, wanting to burn Xiaoping to death. Bang! Before the single-horned lava leopard could finish speaking, Xiaoping punched out again. A faint image of a golden crow of hell appeared behind him, suppressing the past and destroying the present. In an instant, the flames in the single-horned lava leopard's mouth were blasted back. The grand formation on the ground was instantly turned into dust. The flames and runes in the air were all dispersed. Damn, who is the primordial beast here? Chapter 1386. Stop. Seeing his pet in danger, Bian Haifan panicked. He was no longer as calm and condescending as before. He wanted to stop Xiaoping. One had to know that he had paid a great price to obtain this unicorn lava leopard. In order to raise this pet, he had also spent a great deal of effort and money. This was a spiritual pet that could accompany him in conquering the world, enough to accompany him for a lifetime. If it was killed now, his losses would be unimaginable. How could he not be nervous? But Xiaoping did not even look at Bian Haifan. He punched again. It was like a falling meteorite, containing an incomparable fist energy and a spiraling force. Bang! This attack instantly shattered the rune formation on the unicorn lava leopard's body. The fist energy penetrated and immediately smashed the unicorn lava leopard's head, turning it into lava. The unicorn lava leopard was dead. Dead. Everyone was shocked and dumbstruck. This was too savage. That was a single-horned lava leopard that had the battle strength of a peak treasure refinement realm expert. It was enough to sweep away countless creatures of the same level. It was incomparably savage and could swallow billions of creatures with a single bite. But now, it was killed by Xiaoping with one punch. Even its head was smashed. In truth, it was not that the unicorn lava leopard was weak. Some treasure refining realm cultivators thought that if they were to face this ancient beast, they would have no chance of survival other than treasures. Who would have thought that after Xiaoping attacked, he would beat the unicorn lava leopard to death in 2 or 3 moves? This degree of brutality was even more terrifying than ancient beasts. Too powerful. Is this the disciple of a saint? No one in the same generation is his opponent. His target is probably the older generation. Many people were shocked. Not a bad leopard. Its blood and flesh are full of energy. Looks like I'll be lucky tonight. I can make a feast of leopard meat. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. He wanted to dissect the unicorn lava leopard's corpse and make it into a meal. Arg Xiaoping, you and I are irreconcilable. Bian Haifan was infuriated. No one could imagine how angry he was. If looks could kill, Xiaoping would have been killed 1,000 times. If anger could turn into flames, then the entire planet would be burnt to ashes. This unicorn lava leopard was a pet and mount that he had spent a lot of effort to raise. It would accompany him to conquer the universe in the future, but now it was killed by Xiaoping. It would have been fine if he had killed it, but this bastard actually wanted to butcher his mount right in front of him and make it his dinner. This was simply too much, too much. Die! Bian Haifan roared angrily and pounced forward. A terrifying flame energy erupted from his body and connected with heaven and earth energy. A heaven and earth formation immediately appeared in midair. Martial mystification meteor rain. Suddenly, tens of thousands of small suns appeared in the sky, covering the sky. It was as if the sky had turned into a sea of fire. Endless fire energy gathered at the center of the formation. Soon, these small suns fell from the sky like meteorites, smashing toward Xiaoping. Run, senior brother Bian is going to use his ultimate move. A Lingyun sect disciple shouted in fear. He had seen Bian Haifan's martial path mystique before. Its power was boundless. Bian Haifan had once used this martial path mystique to kill a group of interstellar bandits on a desolate planet. In the end, everything within 1,000 miles was covered in flames. Not a single blade of grass grew and all life was lost. The area within 1,000 miles turned into endless flames. The flames wouldn't be extinguished even after hundreds of years. As for the group of interstellar bandits, they were naturally turned to ashes. What? The heaven and earth sect disciples weren't fools. They could sense how terrifying this mystique was. The flames that covered the sky came crashing down like a calamity. If they stayed in the center of the calamity, they would definitely die. Xiaoping raised his head. He could also sense how powerful this mystique was. It was indeed a terrifying flame mystique, but to him, it was nothing much. Hong. In an instant he struck out with a claw. Immediately, the illusion of a golden crow of hell appeared in the void and grabbed out with a golden claw. The moment this claw appeared, golden light shot out in all directions, shaking the world and destroying the heavens. In the depths of this claw, there was the power of a whirlpool. There were countless runes, and a series of runes revolving around it. With this claw, the thousands of small suns in the sky seemed to be attracted by the power of this whirlpool. Instantly, they were grabbed by this claw. The heaven and earth formation in the sky was torn apart by this terrifying claw, turning into a rain of light that dissipated between the heavens and earth. As for those small suns that were formed from countless flames, they were grabbed by the golden claw. They were then crushed and compressed into a ball of golden flames the size of a fist. Whoosh! Xiaoping grabbed it lightly, and immediately placed this ball of golden flames into his mouth. With a smacking sound he swallowed it. Instantly, he felt a warmth in his stomach. It was as though he had drunk a mouthful of nourishing soup. Fuck, he ate it! The disciples of the Lingyun sect were dumbfounded. One must know that this was the power of Bienhaifen's flames. It contained extremely strong destructive power. Ordinary people would try to avoid it, but this brat actually grabbed it and ate it. Fuck, this was a flame, not some ice cream or dessert. How could he eat it just like that? Could it be that this brat wasn't a human, but some kind of divine beast? Wasn't he going to use his ultimate move? The group of Qingkuan sect disciples were speechless. They thought that this move of Bienhaifen's would be terrifying. They didn't expect that it would be destroyed by Xiaoping with a single claw. Not only that, he even grabbed the ball of flame energy and ate it raw. They felt that this was a little too loud, but little rain. The disciples of the Lingyun sect were flushed red. They didn't know what to say. They could only say that this scene was too strange. Xiaoping, I won't forgive you. Bienhaifan was going crazy. He had never been so embarrassed in his life. With a whoosh, he rushed forward crazily, wanting to fight with Xiaoping to regain his face. Xiaoping was a little impatient. He slapped over. Immediately, a yin-yang millstone came crashing down. It was like the pressure of Mount Tai, capable of obliterating everything. Bang! The speed of this palm was really too fast. Moreover, the angle was strange. It was like an antelope hanging its horn without a trace. Bienhaifan didn't even know what was happening, and his body was already slapped. He cultivated a protective divine ability. His body could emit 18 layers of protective light screens. Each layer of light screens had extremely strong defensive power. A total of 18 layers was enough to allow him to transform into an indestructible golden body. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to break through his defense. However, this was all useless. The terrifying spiral force seeped in, and the 18 layers of light screens were smashed into pieces. His entire body was like a rubber ball that was ruthlessly smashed into the ground. In an instant, a huge human-shaped pit was blasted out. Chapter 1387. Senior Brother Bien. A group of Lingyun sect disciples rushed up and administered first aid. They fed him medicinal pills and pinched his philtrum. They barely managed to save Bienhaifen's life and prevent him from dying on the spot. But even so, they were still shocked by Xiaoping's strength. If even Bienhaifan wasn't a match for Xiaoping, then who among them would be able to win against him? Come, everyone, let's roast this single-horned lava leopard. Today, I will treat everyone to leopard meat. Xiaoping spoke casually. He immediately took out all sorts of barbecue tools and skinned the lava leopard on the spot. He even added some peanut oil, soy sauce, cumin, etc. After that, he started a fire. Not long later, the entire square was filled with a fragrant aroma. The entire lava leopard had been roasted until it was golden yellow. A single look at it would cause one to salivate. All the Qingkuan sect disciples were stunned. This was a square of Qingkuan sect, and was usually used for sparring. But now, it had become a barbecue ground. Of course, that wasn't the main point. Xia Ping had actually roasted the one-horned lava leopard's mount in front of them. Come, eat, don't stand on ceremony, Xia Ping called out. After hearing this, the group of Qingkuan sect disciples were tempted. After all, this was the meat of an ancient ferocious beast. Although it hadn't matured yet, its flesh and blood contained abundant energy. It was extremely beneficial to one's cultivation. They immediately went up and took out a small knife, cutting off a piece and eating it. Not bad, not bad. This is too delicious. This is the meat of a peak-grade ferocious beast. Senior brother Xiao's culinary skills are also top-notch, roasting it to perfection. Even a great chef is only sozo. How many ferocious beasts did he roast to have such culinary skills? Don't tell me that senior brother Xia often hunts ferocious beasts to eat? My God, my body is glowing like my blood is burning. There's lava flowing in the depths of my dantian. Quickly sit cross-legged and digest this. This is a great opportunity. The energy contained in this ferocious beast meat is not inferior to thousand-year-old spiritual herbs. Eating a single mouthful is enough to save you several years of cultivation. Thank you so much, senior brother Xia. If it weren't for senior brother Xia, we wouldn't have been able to afford such a fierce beast's meat. All of the Qingkuan sect's disciples were excited to the extreme. They began to gulp down the meat. They knew that if this meat was placed outside, it would be a treasure that couldn't be bought even with money. It was equivalent to a precious medicine. It could be said that this was a great fortune bestowed upon them by Xia Ping. The eyes of many injured Qingkuan sect disciples lit up, and they hurriedly crawled up. Even if they grimaced in pain, they weren't willing to give up this chance. Jiang Yaru and the others also went up to eat without caring about their image. After eating the meat, the Qingkuan sect's disciples all cried out loudly. They had only eaten 1 or 2 pieces, and they were already unable to endure it. Their bodies felt like they were burning in a furnace glowing brightly. They hurriedly sat down cross-legged to digest the meat. Otherwise, they would definitely be burned alive by the exuberant qi and blood. Even if someone wanted to eat more than 2 pieces, they couldn't do anything about it. If one's physique wasn't strong enough, eating too much would be equivalent to courting death. Xia Ping. Seeing this scene, Bian Haifan was so angry that his face turned green. He let out a roar, and actually fainted from anger. Eating his mount in front of so many people, and even enjoying it with relish, was simply a slap to his face. Many Qingkuan sect's disciples gritted their teeth, wanting nothing more than to rush up and give Xia Ping and the others a good beating. This was too much of a bully, but after considering each other's strength, they still gave up and chose to be a coward. But they still hurriedly woke Bian Haifan up. Otherwise, they would really be unable to wake up for a long time. But after waking up, Bian Haifan was filled with grief and indignation. When he saw Xia Ping and the others eating his mount, he wanted nothing more than to faint again. What are you guys doing? Suddenly, a voice as pleasant to the ears as a lark drifted over. The one who spoke was a white-robed female. Everyone immediately looked over. A white-robed female flew over. Her white robes fluttered in the wind. Her skin was as white as snow, and her eyes were like stars. She was like a lotus that was born in the celestial world, pure and untainted by the mortal world. She had the temperament of a fairy. Many people felt as though their souls were being baptized when they saw this white-robed female. They felt as though she was a fairy born in nature, the purest existence in the world, just like a saintess. They felt that when facing such a fairy, they couldn't even shift their eyes away. Senior Sister Yi. Seeing the appearance of this white-robed female, the Qingkuan sect's disciples immediately cried out in surprise. The eyes of Bian Haifan, who was originally heartbroken, also lit up. It was as though he had seen an angel, healing his soul. Yi Mengyao. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He immediately recognized the identity of this white-robed female. She was actually the troublesome female he met in the novice village. She had once fought with him for 300 rounds, and had extraordinary battle prowess. And beside this white-robed female, there were 2 or 3 other females. They were also like fairies with exquisite figures. Although they were far from being comparable to Yi Mengyao, they could still be considered beauties. They also quickly discovered the situation on the square and were instantly stunned. My God, quickly look at what these men are doing here. They are actually barbecuing. Isn't this the place for the sex competition? How did it become a barbecue ground? Could it be that the Qingkuan sect's disciples are all foodies? They don't even care about the occasion when they eat. This is too free. No, something isn't right. Look at that ferocious beast. Isn't that a single-horned lava leopard? That's right. I was wondering why it looks so familiar. It seems to be senior brother Bien's mount. How did it get barbecued? The group of female disciples was dumbfounded. They were a little confused and didn't know what happened. They only saw a group of Qingkuan sect's disciples eating the meat of the single-horned lava leopard with grease dripping from their mouths. Senior brother Bien. They also quickly discovered Bien Haifan lying in a pool of blood. They couldn't understand why Bien Haifan was in such a state. Junior brother Bien, what exactly happened? Yi Mingyao also frowned and looked at Bien Haifan. Senior sister Yi, you came at the right time. You must seek justice for me. When Bien Haifan heard this, his backbone immediately came. He hurriedly complained and wailed. This group of Qingkuan sect's disciples aren't humans. They are all beasts. Especially that shameless bastard Xiaoping. Not only did he injure me, he even killed my mount. He even barbecued it on the spot. My pitiful single-horned lava leopard. It followed me for more than 10 years. We went through fire and water together. Sometimes, we even bathed and slept together. But it was eaten just like that. I can't accept this, I can't accept this. His snot and tears flowed down his face. Those who heard it would feel extremely sad. She had only joined the Lingyun sect for 300 years, but her cultivation was already comparable to the older generation. It was unfathomable. It was said that her strength had already reached the transcendence realm, and was about to break through to the thunder tribulation realm. If Yi Mengyao were to make a move, she would be able to destroy this brat with a single breath. Auntie, do you have any shame? This is just a competition between new students. What are you doing here? Step aside. Xiaoping said with disdain. He could also see that Yi Mingyao's martial arts realm was extremely high, far higher than his. Fighting with such a person was clearly asking for abuse. He was not that stupid. Auntie. Yi Mingyao's beautiful eyes were spitting fire. She was extremely angry. This was the first time in her life that someone spoke to her like this. Her smile immediately froze. As soon as these words came out, everyone was dumbfounded. The scene was silent. They looked at Xiaoping with a strange expression. They had to admit that this guy was really asking for a beating. Who didn't know that Yi Mengyao was a peerless saintess of a generation? She was dressed in white and exuded an extraordinary temperament. She was like a fairy that descended from the Jade Lake. Her beauty was unparalleled. Anyone would be moved by such beauty. But this guy said that she was an auntie. What kind of eyes did he have? What kind of aesthetic standards did he have? Xiaoping, what are you talking about? Who are you calling an auntie? You can't win, so you started to attack me. Shameless. Senior sister Yi is only 300 years old now. Moreover, she is from the fairy clan. Her lifespan is extremely long. If we were to really compare, she would only be 17 or 18 years old. How can she be an auntie? What kind of eyes do you have? Apologize. Apologize to me immediately. Do you know how to speak? Have you seen what a real auntie looks like? Oh my God. You actually said that senior sister Yi is an auntie. Your whole family is an auntie. A group of female disciples of the Lingyun sect was furious. Their beautiful eyes glared at Xiaoping, almost spewing fire. Yi Mengyao was their senior sister that they greatly admired. How could they stand a hooligan slandering Yi Mengyao? They bared their fangs and brandished their claws. They wanted nothing more than to go up and beat this madman up. As a woman, regardless of whether she was beautiful or not, it was taboo to be called old. Moreover, she was an 18-year-old girl. Being called an auntie, even a clay figurine would be angry. Alright, when you come out, you have to admit that you are old. Why are you still pretending to be young? Why don't you say that you are 18 years old every year? You are already more than 300 years old. You are old enough to be someone's ancestor. Xiaoping said disdainfully. This is the matter of us young people. Is it something that you older generation can meddle in? Hehe. Yi Mengyao chuckled. Even though she had an indifferent state of mind, and had cultivated to the realm of calmness, Xiaoping's words were enough to make her choke. She felt that she rarely got angry in her life. Yet this fellow was able to provoke her anger. He was about the same as that big liar Wu Wudi. No, he was much more despicable than Wu Wudi. At least that Wu Wudi didn't appear in front of her, alive and kicking. Yet this bastard did. Junior brother Xia, I feel that we should still spar. This isn't a competition between people of the same generation. As a senior, I might need to give you some necessary guidance and care. Yi Mengyao smiled faintly. She wanted this fellow to know the consequences of offending a woman, especially a petty one. If she didn't beat this fellow up until his head was full of bumps, she wouldn't let this matter rest. Bian Haifan and the others were rejoicing in Xiaoping's misfortune. Who asked this bastard to have such a cheap mouth? Now that he had offended their senior sister, Yi Mengyao, he wouldn't have a good ending. He would definitely be taught a harsh lesson. But before Yi Mengyao could act, Xiaoping immediately shouted, Elder, someone is causing trouble in the Qingkuan sect. Some aunties are bullying the young. These days, aunties are all so shameless. Aren't you going to come out and do something about it? His voice was like a megaphone, instantly spreading out for a radius of several thousand miles. The sound waves condensed into a corporeal form, spreading in all directions. Almost everyone within the range of the sound waves could hear it clearly. What? The group of Qingkuan sect disciples were all dumbfounded. They didn't expect this fellow to be so shameless. He couldn't win against his opponent, yet he directly called for help. He even called his parents over. He didn't seem to feel embarrassed at all. Yi Mengyao was also stunned. What's wrong? Chapter 1389. Elder Lu. When they saw this old man appear, all the heaven and earth sect disciples bowed respectfully. Clearly, they recognized this person as heaven and earth sect's grand elder Lu Cheng. His strength was terrifying. Even the arrogant Lingyun sect disciples couldn't help but show respect when they saw this old man. After all, such a powerful person was too terrifying. If they offended him, and he slapped them to death, no one would stand up for them. Even Yi Mengyao bowed slightly to show respect to this elder. What happened? Why are there so many people gathered here? And why is there a beast being roasted? Lu Qing heard Xiaoping's call for help and rushed over because something big had happened. He didn't expect to see such a scene. He was a little stunned. Even though he had lived for so many years, this was the first time he saw someone roasting an ancient beast in the public square. However, one had to say that the smell was indeed fragrant. Elder Lu, your sect's disciple is too much. Not only did he injure my Lingyun sect's disciple, he even roasted his mount. Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth and glared at Xiaoping. When Lu Qing heard this, he knew what had happened. He instantly found it both funny and angry. He didn't expect Xiaoping to cause so much trouble, injuring the Lingyun sect's disciple, and even roasting his mount. However, he rolled his eyes and said, I know what's going on. But they're still young, and their actions are more or less impulsive. Let's just forget about it. Don't do it again. Don't do it again? What did he mean by don't do it again? Did he mean that they should just forget about this? He was too protective. Bian Haifan and the others' eyes were spewing fire like dragons. They were so angry that they almost died. This was an ancient beast. It was priceless. If it was put up for auction, it would be worth over 100 million universe dollars. Now that it was eaten by this bastard, how could he not do it again? Did he have any face? Why were the people from heaven and earth sect so thick-skinned? No thicker than a city wall. The group of Lingyun sect disciples' faces were as black as charcoal. However, this was heaven and earth sect's territory. Even if they wanted to go crazy, they couldn't. Alright, since Elder Lu has said so, we won't do it again. Let's go. Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth. But with the Qingkuan sect elder here, she knew that this matter couldn't continue. It was impossible to teach Xiaoping a lesson. Elder Lu would definitely step forward to stop him. Since that was the case, She might as well go along with this excuse to avoid making a big deal out of this matter and causing an irreconcilable conflict between the Heaven and Earth faction and the Lingyun faction. That would be a serious crime. She glared at Xia Ping and remembered this Heaven and Earth sect disciple, Bian Haifan, and the others were very unwilling. This provocation had really caused them to suffer a double loss. However, they had no choice but to swallow this loss in silence. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Under Yi Mingyao's lead, the group of Lingyun sect disciples quickly left. Many of the Qingkuan sect's disciples cheered. They knew that they had obtained a great victory this time around. Not only did they severely damage the Lingyun sect's reputation, but they also ate the Lingyun sect's mount. Elder Lu, thank you for speaking up for justice and upholding justice. Only then did you prevent those rascals from causing trouble everywhere. Xia Ping said casually. There's quite a lot of beast meat here. It's equivalent to a treasure medicine. Do you want to try it? He wanted to bribe Elder Lu. Hearing this, Elder Lu said in a bad mood. You only know how to cause trouble. If I didn't come in time, you would have more or less suffered. That Yi Mingyao isn't simple. There aren't many disciples in the Lingyun sect who can compare to her. He didn't care much about the beast meat. At his level, ordinary beast meat wouldn't bring him any benefits. Plus, after living for so long, he had seen all kinds of treasures. So what if she isn't simple? She still runs away when she sees Elder Lu. Old ginger is spicier. Xia Ping didn't think much of it. Elder Lu felt very comfortable after being flattered. He said proudly, that's true. I was an influential figure back in the day. Ordinary people can't compare to me. Even a peerless prodigy is nothing more than this. You're still young. But this isn't the place to talk. Come with me. He waved his hand and left with Xia Ping and the others. Xia Ping also quickly packed the rest of the beast meat. He didn't want to waste it in the square. He would eat it later. 10 minutes later, Xia Ping, Jiang Yaru, and the others followed Elder Lu to the elders' courtyard. It was the area where the elders lived. They also came to Lu Cheng's courtyard. I didn't expect you to reach the treasure refining realm so quickly. What a fast improvement. Lu Cheng was amazed. He sensed Xia Ping's current cultivation. It had only been a year and a half, and he had reached the middle stage of the treasure refining realm. Such a rate of improvement would be shocking even among the countless races and geniuses in the entire universe. Moreover, Xia Ping's speed of improvement was not the least bit unstable. His martial arts foundation was extremely solid, deeper than the vast majority of martial artists, which was even more terrifying. With such a martial arts foundation, one could imagine what he would achieve in the future. He felt more and more that the world now belonged to the young. It was really like the waves behind Push the Waves before. It's just luck, Xia Ping said humbly. This time, I actually have something to ask of you, Elder. This group of people are? Lu Cheng went straight to the point. He stared at Jiang Yaru, Chu Rong Yuchichi Suji, and Feng Hatong. He knew that Xia Ping most likely came for these 5 people. They are all from my hometown. The main reason I brought them here is to let them join Heaven and Earth sect. I wonder if he can help me? Xia Ping went straight to the point. Although you are the disciple of a saint and have the power to recommend disciples, Heaven and Earth sect is a saint sect after all. Recruiting disciples requires a certain level of talent. Without talent, one can't become a Heaven and Earth sect disciple. Lu Cheng said, naturally, I am only recommending them. If they don't have talent, I won't force them. Xia Ping expressed that he understood. Okay, then I will test them to see if they have talent. Lu Cheng nodded. After all, this was a request from a saint's disciple. No matter what, he had to give him face. After all, if Xia Ping didn't die, he might even have a chance to become a saint. If he helped Xia Ping now, in the future, it would be Xia Ping who helped him. Jiang Yaru and the others were all very nervous. They knew that whether or not they could join Heaven and Earth sect depended on this elder. Boom! Immediately, a mysterious and powerful energy gushed out from Elder Lu Cheng's body, enveloping the bodies of Jiang Yaru and the others. It was as though he could sense the condition of their bodies. My God! All meridians are open, blood and qi like dragons, violet palaces like the sea, souls are tough, and their foundations are extremely sturdy. Could it be that they had some sort of fortuitous encounter before? Lu Qing couldn't help but exclaim. Clearly, he was a little shocked by the aptitude of Jiang Yaru and the others. They could definitely be considered as peerless geniuses. Luckily, they have bathed in dragon blood before, which improved their aptitude. Xiaoping said. No wonder, no wonder. What a good opportunity. Lu Cheng's eyes lit up. His heart was stirred, and he couldn't suppress the excitement in his heart. I can take all of these disciples. Who bathed in dragon blood? Why don't you let this old man take a look? Why can't I have a share of such disciples? Before he could finish speaking, a powerful aura drifted over from afar. Another elder had arrived. He impolitely pushed open the door of the courtyard and walked in. Chapter 1390. Fuck old fart, this has nothing to do with you. Move aside. Lu Cheng's expression was very black. He didn't want these few outstanding disciples to be snatched away. Old Lu, you're treating me like an outsider. Who doesn't know that we're sworn brothers? Your words really hurt my heart. The yellow-clothed old man didn't care about Lu Cheng's attitude at all. He stared at Jiang Yaru and the others and his eyes immediately lit up. Not bad, not bad. As expected, they are good seedlings. They actually have the luck to bathe in dragon blood and increase their aptitude. This is very rare. Seems like the quality of the dragon blood is also very high. One look and I know they are fated with me. His eyes shone brightly. Clearly, he also instantly checked the aptitude of Jiang Yaru and the others. He also cherished talent. Fate my ass. Get out of here for this old man. Lu Qing gritted his teeth. These are the disciples I just accepted. You don't have a share. Don't be a hindrance here. He had the urge to chase this shameless old man out, wanting to snatch away his genius disciples the moment he entered. Wasn't this just looking for trouble? Old Lu, it's better to have everyone happy than to be happy alone. There's no future if you eat alone. Also, you're just one person. Can you teach so many disciples? The yellow-clothed old man said. Why don't you share some of the pressure with me? Scram, I like to eat alone. Not to mention a few disciples. Even teaching a few hundred is easy. Lu Qing gritted his teeth and glared at the yellow-clothed old man. So. Just as he finished speaking, many old men with powerful auras flew in. There were both men and women. They were all at least in the transcendence realm. They were all heaven and earth sex elders. Oh, old Lu. You just said that a few genius disciples suddenly appeared at old Lu's place. Is that true? They indeed have good aptitude and are full of spirituality. They even bathed in dragon blood and have a trace of dragon nature in their bodies. They even have a trace of hope to become a sage. Thank you, old Lu. What a coincidence. I just happen to be lacking a few outstanding female disciples. Truly, it takes no effort to search for them. A group of old men and women barged in, completely treating this courtyard as their own home. Lu Dong. Lu Qing was infuriated as he glared at the yellow-clothed old man. Without a doubt, this group of elders was called over by this bastard in order to put pressure on him. The yellow-robed old man Lu Dong was immensely proud of himself. If there weren't other elders to share the pressure, he wouldn't be able to stop Lu Qing. Now that the matter had blown up, he would at least be able to get a genius disciple. Jiang Yaru and the rest stood to the side, not daring to even breathe loudly. They could only obediently obey. Xiaoping was very satisfied. It seemed that Jiang Yaru and the others' aptitude was quite good. If so many elders wanted to take them as disciples, they would probably have no worries in the Qingquan faction in the future. Although Feng Hatong's strength and aptitude were a little lacking, Xiaoping had given him a few bottles of dragon blood on the flying ship, improving his aptitude. Even if he couldn't be considered a peerless genius, he could still enter the ranks of geniuses. At the very least, he wouldn't have to worry about anything if he joined the Heaven and Earth faction. An hour later, Xiaoping returned to Flame Yellow Peak. Jiang Yaru and the others had already been selected by a few elders to become inner disciples. Even Feng Hatong had caught the eye of an elder. Hence, there was no need for him to stay here. He returned to Flame Yellow Peak. As for the following matters, Jiang Yaru and the others would handle them themselves. There was no need for him to point fingers at them. Another day passed. Xiaping stayed in Flame Yellow Peak and cultivated in peace. At noon, he ended his cultivation and immediately discovered that there were people looking for him. It wasn't just one person but 3 or 4. They were the number 1 ranked new student, Lu Wenhou, number 5 Li Hu, number 10 Ba Tu, and the 18th prince of the Loki kingdom Ku Er. They came together to discuss some matters with Xiaping. Xiaping's brows twitched. He could sense that Lu Wenhou and the others' strength had undergone a huge change compared to before. They had actually advanced to the initial phase of the treasure refining realm. Although it hadn't been long since they broke through, they could be considered to have stepped into the treasure refining realm. Clearly, he wasn't the only one working hard during this period of time. After Lu Wenhou and the others lost to him, they worked even harder. In addition to the resources of the Heaven and Earth sect, and the families behind them, their cultivation increased by leaps and bounds. They quickly broke through to the treasure refining realm. Of course, when they joined the Heaven and Earth sect, they were already at the peak of the fulfillment realm. All of them had astonishing talent. After a year and a half, it wouldn't be difficult for them to advance to the treasure refining realm. Brother Xia, although I've heard that you easily defeated Bian Haifan of the Soaring Cloud sect, I didn't expect you to advance to the middle phase of the treasure refining realm. Your progress is really too fast. Ku Er was amazed. He thought that he had cultivated hard enough, and he had the support of the Loki kingdom and countless spiritual medicines. He didn't expect that he still couldn't compare to Xiaping's cultivation speed. Although he was improving at a godly speed now, the more he cultivated, the slower his cultivation speed would become. Lu Wenhou and the others were also very shocked. However, when they thought of the battle with Xiaping before, they also knew that this kid was simply a monster. The shock in their hearts also decreased a lot. Alright, there's no need to flatter me. Since you all came together, you must have something important to discuss with me. What exactly is it? Xiaping went straight to the point, asking directly. Ku Er smiled faintly and said, Indeed, it is Brother Xia. You are really straightforward. In that case, I'll get straight to the point. I wonder if Brother Xia has heard of the Fiendish Demon Battlefield? Fiendish Demon Battlefield? Xiaping blinked, indicating that he did not know much about it. It looks like Brother Xia is not very familiar with it. However, it doesn't matter. I can explain in detail. Ku Er said sullenly. The so-called fiendish demons are the common enemy of all the races in the universe. They are born in the deep abyss of the universe, and are formed from dark energy. They are an extremely strong life form. They are naturally ferocious, and feed on all the races in the universe. They have long lifespans and practically no bottlenecks in their cultivation. As long as the fiendish demons can consume enough life forms, they can grow infinitely stronger. In the ancient era, these fiendish demons came out of the deep abyss of the universe, causing a boundless massacre. That was the dark epoch of the entire universe. Countless life forms died. Even the sages fell. Fortunately, our predecessors did not fear death. They defeated the fiendish demons and sealed the deep abyss of the universe, chasing the fiendish demons back to their home. Otherwise, the entire universe would have turned dead. The fiendish demons would have killed all the life forms of all the races in the universe. Xiaping asked carefully. The so-called deep abyss of the universe was actually called the dark universe. It was another special space in the universe, the reverse side of the current universe. The dark universe gathered boundless demonic qi, resentment, evil qi, ferocious qi, fiendish qi, yin qi, and many other negative energies. These negative energies were boundless, and the fiendish demons were the strong life forms born from these negative energies. Originally, the dark universe and the normal universe had nothing to do with each other, just like parallel planes. However, in the ancient era, the sages fought without any reservations. In the end, spatial tears appeared everywhere in the universe. Some of the tears healed quickly, but some were permanent. In the end, these tears connected to the deep abyss of the universe. Those fiendish demons charged out of the deep abyss and swept through the entire universe, causing a boundless massacre. Even countless sages fell. Chapter 1391. However, even though the sages were courting death, things had already come to this, and there was no turning back. There was no point in finding out who was right and who was wrong. The only thing they could do was to eliminate the demons as soon as possible. Furthermore, towards the end of the war, some of the universe rifts were no longer torn open by sages, but by great fiendish demons. They opened a passageway that connected to the universe and poured out in full force. Because of this, there were countless cracks like this in the universe. Of course, most of the cracks had been repaired or sealed by the sages. The demons could not come out at all. But even so, there would occasionally be a crack in the seal, and a large number of demons would take the opportunity to come out and wreak havoc in the world. Although the various races of the universe joined forces to chase those fiendish demons back to the abyss of the universe in ancient times, those cracks in the universe could never be closed. Kor said, "The problem is that if the crack can't be closed, there will still be endless demons coming out from the abyss of the universe. When that time comes, it will definitely lead to a great calamity." Therefore, the sages joined forces and built many great arrays to seal the cracks in the universe. They also sent many experts to suppress them, preventing these demons from returning to the human world for generations. The space where these universe cracks are located is known as the fiendish demon battlefield. He explained the origins of the fiendish demon battlefield. Furthermore, Kerr also indicated that the space of the universe's abyss was very unique. It was formed by abyssal continents, and each abyssal continent was very far apart. Even the demons themselves would find it extremely difficult to travel from their own abyss continent to a nearby abyss continent. Therefore, every crack in the universe represented an abyss continent nearby. Depending on the size of the crack, the strength of the abyss continent would be completely different. Since the ancient era, and the myriad races were victorious, why didn't they exterminate all of these demons and cut the weeds at the roots? Xiaoping asked curiously. If they had exterminated all of the demons, there wouldn't have been such a thing today. Kerr shook his head. It's impossible for demons to go extinct. As long as the universe's abyss still exists, those demons will be born endlessly. Killing one batch will quickly produce another batch. Even saints can't do anything about it. Very well. I already know the specifics of the fiendish demon battlefield. However, why did you mention the fiendish demon battlefield? Xiaoping looked at Ku Er and the others. 10 days later, the Universe Sect, the Lingyun Sect, the Origin Returning Sect, the Five Element Sect, and the Flying Immortal Sect will send their new disciples to the fiendish demon battlefield for experiential training. LV Wenho said, "This training is actually a competition between the sections. There will be rankings. Whoever kills the most demons will be rewarded handsomely. This is an opportunity." Xiaoping nodded. The rewards from this fiendish demon battlefield were usually very bountiful. Sometimes it was a precious medicinal pill, sometimes it was a strong magic treasure, and sometimes it was a spirit herb. In short, the rewards were enough to drive the disciples of the 5 major factions crazy, making them want to do their best. In fact, experiential training like this in the fiendish demon battlefield was held once every 5 years. It had already become a tradition. Although most of the fiendish demons were unable to come out of the abyss after sealing the cracks in the universe, it was better to be safe than sorry. In order to familiarize the disciples with the fiendish demons, the sages ordered the disciples to enter the abyss for training. Otherwise, if the seal broke in the future and the fiendish demons invaded the human world, the cultivators would be caught off guard. Not familiar with the combat prowess of the fiendish demons, they would suffer heavy losses. Furthermore, there were simply too many spatial cracks in the universe. Sometimes, when the sealing formations fell into disrepair, many fiendish demons would escape from them. Every time they escaped, it would result in a boundless massacre. Every living creature on a planet would die. The danger of the fiendish demons was easy to imagine. Hence, every experiential training in the fiendish demon battlefield was actually an activity to clear out the fiendish demons. This was to prevent these fiendish demons from multiplying and creating an irreversible crisis. Actually, even without the rewards from the sect, Killing fiendish demons will still bring you great benefits, Li Hu said. Every fiendish demon has a demon core. This kind of demon core contains abundant pure yang energy and does not have any demonic nature. If you can obtain a large number of demon cores, you can quickly increase your magic energy, saving decades, even centuries of cultivation. Sometimes demon cores are hard currency. Countless cultivators desire them. Demon core. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. It looked like this was another kind of cultivation treasure. Speaking of which, I believe you already know that the fiendish demon battlefield is an incredibly dangerous place. Fiendish demons roam the land, and the environment is harsh. Every experiential training, countless sect disciples die there. Batu said. If you want to survive in the fiendish demon battlefield, you cannot fight alone. You have to work together. Only when a group of people are united will there be any hope of survival. Otherwise, you will die for sure. Batu's expression was very grave. Furthermore, the fiendish demon battlefield does not just have monsters like fiendish demons. There is an even more terrifying monster known as the heavenly demon, Lu Wenho said. It is formless and formless. It is a soul, a thought. It is ever-changing, ruthless, and crafty. It can invade the soul of a living being and create illusions. If it finds a weakness in one's heart, it will immediately swallow up one's soul and take over one's body. Compared to the many fiendish demons, the heavenly demon is the scariest enemy. Although many experts can kill fiendish demons, they cannot kill the heavenly demon. This is a demon that comes from the heart. Once you meet it, you have to be careful. Otherwise, you will end up getting wiped out. Even though Batu was very arrogant, he still did not dare to be careless when facing the fiendish demon battlefield. Otherwise, if he got careless, he might die in the fiendish demon battlefield. Hence, Batu wanted to seek help to prevent himself from dying in the fiendish demon battlefield. Alright, got it. Xiaoping nodded. He remembered the name of the heavenly demon. If he met it, he had to be more careful. That's right. Furthermore, this is also a competition. The sect disciple that kills the most fiendish demons wins. How can one person compare to teamwork? Ku said. Hence, we came here this time hoping to seek your cooperation. If we can form an alliance in the fiendish demon battlefield, we can take care of each other. This will greatly increase our chances of survival. Ku looked seriously at Xiaoping. Cooperation? Xiaoping thought for a while and said, very well. It is indeed as you said. If the fiendish demon battlefield is that dangerous, cooperation is naturally the best choice. Does that mean that you agree? Ku looked at Xiaoping somewhat nervously. Xiaoping nodded. That's great. Ku and the others rejoiced. If a super expert like Xiaoping joined them, their experiential training in the fiendish demon battlefield would be several times safer than before. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.